Hello and welcome to the Metalheads podcast. My name is George.
Not at Vakin. This is Buke.
This is Jay.
And we are joined by local Baltimore tech death metal band Perihelion. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey.
And we are joined by...
I'm Ansh. I play guitar and vocals.
I'm Brandon. I play bass.
Awesome. Gentlemen, how's everything going today?
Pretty cool.
Good.
I mean, we're glad to be here. It's a cool place.
I woke up earlier than usual, so I'm
Didn't get lost in the middle of nowhere trying to find your way out here?
Didn't, actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
did you guys... Because we've had, the people who do join us who've driven out here. Do you get to that point driving out here when you're like, where the fuck are we?
we have that, like, when we were on tour, we had that all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
We had to, like, the routes we would take sometimes, like, between Georgia and Tennessee, they would take us back into Georgia, and that just to get to a different place in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And, like, we had to go into a different time zone for, like, an hour just to get somewhere else. And, like, we're looking around, and it all looks the same. So we're just like, no idea what the fuck.
So you probably thought you were on
like,
tour again coming here.
Oh, yeah.
Brought back bad memories.
Oh, great memories, actually, yeah.
Sort of, like,
Probably like, if I hear banjos, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
too much.
Unless you're revocation.
So-
I'm scared now.
So to bring the listeners into the fold here as to why I asked you guys to come and join us, like when we were talking, when we mentioned you guys earlier, George, Jay, and I, we're always scouring Bandcamp. We're always scouring the interwebs for new music, new bands, and stuff like that. And I was on Bandcamp a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so. First off, I saw this sick album artwork.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You can thank Mark Cooper for that one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same guy who did Rings of Saturn's artwork. He has
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He has a
Yeah.
budget section on his website.
We
which is
immediately were like, we saw budget designs, $100 less.
yeah,
We're like,
that sounds great.
that way.
That was budget?
yeah.
Yeah, we got that and another design that we haven't released yet. We're planning that for another shirt.
Okay, and
we
you're
got
out-
that, both of those for $100.
Wow. And the album we're talking about is Infinite Decay.
Yeah.
You can get that now. But I saw it in the first, again, drawn to the album artwork. I said, man, I have to check this out. Because a lot of artwork on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much anybody can upload it.
Yeah.
Looks like kid pics, clip art from back in the day, It just looks like it's fucking... yeah. Looks like it's all stamped out, easy clip art stuff.
Yeah.
I saw your guys' stuff, and I said, pretty interesting. I went in there at first apprehensive because I knew it was going to be death metal going into it.
Yeah.
And like George and I have said, a lot of death metal on Bandcamp sucks. Sucks.
There's a lot of music in general that sucks on Bandcamp. But there's a lot of really good stuff, too. So
There's a lot of music everywhere.
Yes. But then I heard your guys' stuff, and I was fucking blown away.
Thank you.
Started
Thank
me
you.
on this
Thank you.
whole path where I'm at. I'm listening the past couple weeks. I've been on this huge technical death metal kick.
now, as technical as this stuff is, and as young as you are, when the fuck did you start playing?
I actually started...
I don't know if you guys tell people. Do you tell people how old you are? Is it known on the road how old you guys are?
We only really tell them if they ask.
Okay.
Because, like, they can see we're a lot younger than, like,
Yeah.
the other guys are, like, 25,
Yeah.
30, So we tell them if they ask,
Okay.
But I mean, we started music really young. Like, I started on, like, the clarinet in, like, 4th grade,
Right.
I started playing Guitar Hero, which I was like, I like rock music. Guitar Hero is fun. I'm gonna pick up guitar, I did that for a little bit and ended up switching over to bass when I was about, like, 15. So after that, we play a lot of jazz, play a lot of rock, metal, and then it just slowly got more into the technical stuff as I started learning, like, music theory.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Something about, like, being younger, though, is that we are always the only band walking around with the stupid fucking X's on our hands.
Yeah.
Like, I might as well get this tattooed
Yeah.
on at this point. Because
One time I went back to school, and one of the girls came up to me, one of my friends, she's like, "Oh, nice straight edge tattoos." No.
So, guys, to be, I don't know why I say it like this, so young, because you guys aren't kids, but to be, young and playing such technical music. Okay, this is a podcast. Obviously, you guys can't see what happened. We just had a spillage of water
Yeah.
We almost.
Brandon was trying to take out all the electronics in the room, so I think we've
You know what-
avoided
what
that.
maybe
but-
works-
Right, you gotta leave your
work for-
bass player at home. 'Cause really, they're just gonna
Like
break.
Jay-
From the bass player, don't take us anywhere.
Yeah, Jay's never brought his bass player here.
And for good reason. Thank
Yes.
you, Jay.
Yes.
This is a smart move.
I'm actually starting to wonder if you guys work for another podcast.
trying to
So
take us down.
sabotage run.
Sabotage.
So you guys, I'm sure when you guys started listening to metal, hate me if I'm wrong with this. You guys, did you start with is your shirt like the Fallujah and these
No.
tech
No.
bands?
When I started listening to metal, I started listening to like Iron Maiden and stuff.
Of course.
And
Good
then
place to start.
I pretty much had a natural progression of like Iron Maiden to like Metallica and like thrash metal, and then into like more death metal stuff. And, like some prog
That's
stuff.
same
My-
path
yeah.
we all took, really.
Pretty,
So
pretty standard.
Yeah.
And my story is like, it's a little more embarrassing, but I own it because it's how I got to where I am now. Like a lot of people are surprised when I say I'm not really that into old school like thrash metal. Like when I say like I'm not like a big fan of Megadeth, they get like whoa, like how, like I listen to some Metallica and all that, but I was always more into like the grunge and the classic rock, my first steps into metal, I actually hated it. I had a really, really good friend in middle school, and he loved like the hardcore, metalcore stuff, but I couldn't stand it. But I just hung out with him so much that eventually I just kind of got used to it, and eventually started listening to it myself. So I listened to like a lot of metalcore to start out.
sorry about that.
Thanks, yeah, definitely don't do that now,
Yeah, if
You're not going to throw in some Fallout Boy choruses?
Oh, absolutely not.
If you were to come in here
Fallout Boy.
wearing like
Next album, yeah, we're gonna have a couple like real poppy choruses. in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
if you were to come in here wearing a metalcore shirt or something, we definitely would have locked the door.
Oh,
said,
yeah.
You would have
Thanks,
every
but-
right to. I dropped that after
because
about a year.
you know what I have to admit, guys, with seeing young kids in the metal scene, air quotes metal scene now,
Yeah.
it's to a lot of them the metalcore bands.
Those are the bands
That's
we
what
play
they're
with.
gr-
When we play local shows, it's all metalcore bands.
That's what the kids think
a
is
lot.
the scene
Right.
now.
So like after I started listening to that for a little bit, and I started listening to more like death metal and like prog metal and stuff like that, I was like, well, this shit sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna start listening to this more, and then eventually got into like the tech death where we are.
I don't know. I don't hate on music. People could just listen to whatever. I don't really care. Every music is
You
dumb
can listen
in
to
its
what
own
you want,
respect.
but
I like all metal except metalcore, but then
Right.
but then it's not
Right.
really metal as far as I'm concerned. It's shit. So
Yeah.
I like all metal.
Give us the
Try to
history.
pretend like I don't think that, but
So give us some history on the band here. How'd you guys all meet and start to?
you
we were in a-
another guy.
we were in it was supposed to be a
progressive like
metal
instrumental.
band, but really it ended up sounding more like math rock.
And I will admit,
It was out there.
early prog, like startup prog bands, you want to hear what like an audible train wreck sounds like? Prog that sucks is that.
Yeah.
You know, when they're throwing in bad solos and all this weird timey stuff. Oh, it sounds horrible.
Yeah, I remember because I was friends with the drummer of that band that they were in.
Okay.
That's how I met him. Actually, I ended up joining that band after they were around for about a year. They asked me to be the bass player.
Okay.
So of course I bring in like my 6-string bass. I'm like, we're gonna prog this up, and like it actually like what it ended up becoming was actually pretty cool. But eventually, him and I and the other guitarist wanted to do more like death metal stuff, and the drummer was like, I'm not having any of this. So we're like, all right, well,
And then
we all want to do this. So
He
it's
left
up to you if
eventually.
you want to leave or stay. So he left.
his parents said, "You got to leave the metal band," and we're like, "For real?" And then so we became a tech death band.
And what time frame is this around?
This is
was
about
about
a year and a half
a year
ago.
and a half
Year and a half,
ago.
2 years ago.
I think we wrote most of the album that came out.
like immediately after. The
this
first
year.
song we ever wrote for Perihelion was Infinite Decay.
Yeah.
Which was under the working title Riffage, because it was the first song that actually had like heavy riffs and whatnot.
Right.
And that was originally supposed to be for that old band, which is called Upon Reflection, but of course it didn't fit the genre at all. And then the drummer ended up leaving anyway, and we became this death metal thing anyway. So
Yeah, we've only been doing this for about a year, but it's been pretty cool so far.
yeah,
You would not fucking know it.
we have been humbled, so
You
humbled by
would
the
not
opportunities
know, I'm
we've
telling
gotten.
you guys.
Yeah.
You would not know it at all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Psych unseen, I would have thought you guys were older, had 2 or 3 albums under your belt. You know, you guys have a very experienced sound.
Thank you.
Yeah, that means a lot. Yeah,
Okay,
we really appreciate that.
Did you guys record this in a studio, or did you do it like a home setup?
We tracked like most of the songs at my house, basically, and then we kind of just had them sitting, and we weren't really sure what we were gonna do with them. And there's like a couple because our guitar player left, and so there's a couple gaps for like these other solos. But then we got our guitar player that we have now and we've had for quite a while, Sanjay, and he also is really big into like engineering and stuff, and like he's way better than any of us at all of that. So he mixed the album and just kind of put it out, and he did all.
So
he
it's
did
all self-recorded.
all the
self-
extra
Oh,
solos.
self-record. That's
self-recorded,
crazy.
self-produced. Yeah.
This is why I'm such a stickler for production. You know, there's no reason for bands to have a completely shitty sounding record when you can get stuff that sounds like this and make it at home on a computer because the tools are there.
Yeah,
Either you're fucking lazy or you're stupid or you don't care. Or you just want an atmosphere like that. I'm poking mostly at the black metal bands, but there's just no excuse.
Yeah.
You know, unless it's the atmosphere you're going for, which I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason to not have at least a decent production.
Something that's really cool now is like you don't even really need like an expensive guitar rig or anything because there's a lot of like free impulse responses and like amp presets.
Yeah, like
that are,
I've been getting into the recording
Yeah.
stuff myself, and I'm looking at like for plugins. They have bundles. So like if you buy like Focusrites or whatever, they'll come in with Focusrite plugins. That bias effects that just came out, it's like $200 and sounds amazing. So there's not a lot of expense. Like there's a lot of inexpensive things that sound good, and all it takes is practice. You're not gonna just get into it and then expect to release like a top-notch album. You got to record some stuff yourself and practice with it. Just like demo tracks and whatever.
So you were going to say also that there's all these tools that you were using?
There's a lot of like free stuff out there. Our guitars and bass on our album were actually done through an Axe Effects, but it's totally unnecessary. Like it's cool to have, but like really, I mean, people have showed me stuff that they recorded with like a free Mesa rectifier clone that they found online, and it sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like if you just know how to like dial it in and mix everything, you can make anything sound badass.
That's what I was talking with George about the other day. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys with is that musicians growing up today with the internet being what it is, the access to all this stuff is limitless.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You guys can grow. You guys have grown up with this world that anything you guys want, you guys can go out there and find.
Yeah, it's really
So you guys are all self-taught with all this stuff?
no.
Our drummer is actually.
Our drummer is, and our other guitar player takes like lessons, but we're both actually jazz majors at school.
Wow.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, how is it when you're playing jazz and then you go and play this? Do people you play with, or they're like, "Oh, you're playing that"?
No, I mean, no, it's totally different, really. Like, there's some stuff that like crosses over. Like, there's some like chord voicings and stuff, but for the most part in our music, like jazz is one thing, death metal is a different thing, and like,
Do you play jazz still?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely.
In a jazz band?
yeah, like we have groups at school. And
Is it exciting?
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
it's fun. It's so fun.
It's a lot to think about.
I actually
Really?
with the old prog band that we were talking about before, and even a little bit now, I still incorporate some jazz lines.
You know,
A lot of like chromaticisms and arpeggios and stuff.
there's something I've seen with the guitarist from Revocation.
Yeah,
He's
David Davidson.
Yeah,
he's. I aspire to be that man.
he's trained. He goes to school for guitar
Yeah.
and music and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's what we were saying, George. They're so technical because I guess you guys have grown up with this educated background in it too.
It really shows in Revocation, I think, more so than like any band who's tried to mix two genres. Like they did it so well, and like
The album was one of my
Just-
top albums of the year last year.
yeah, that was Deathless was really amazing. That was probably one of my favorite albums last year too. But like, yeah, the way he incorporates the jazz stuff like without making it sound like he's just an asshole who's trying to play jazz.
Okay, so talking about you guys learning how to, play and coming together and stuff like that. You guys just got done doing a short tour over the summer.
Yeah.
How did that go? How was you guys' experience there? How many
That was
dates you guys
memorable.
played?
We were gone for 10 days, and we played 5 shows, which kind of sucked. But overall, like, the tour was way better than I think any of us expected it to be. Because, I came in expecting, like, we might have, like, one good night. Like, the rest we're going to play to, like, 5 people in some shitty club that, like, nobody cares about.
Like, it was going to be an anvil thing.
And most of that came from the Baltimore scene. Playing in Baltimore, nobody comes to the shows. A lot of the bands aren't very different from each other.
Yeah, it's like, and also like I didn't want to come into tour having some kind of high expectations.
But this was your guys' first tour playing outside of Baltimore,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
But it went really well, and we were well received. People were really nice to us everywhere we went.
We were really surprised by not just
Did
the
you guys-
bands.
Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna ask if you were opening for somebody or what was the setup?
No,
Was
it was just
a
us.
lot of it was the local shows, and we got put on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but like coming from the Baltimore scene, it's not just about like the bands, because like we have good bands, but it's mostly about the fans. Like the audiences, they'll only come out for the bands they came out to see. They don't stay for the other bands. And like when we would go, for example, when we were in Michigan, we went to Lansing. We were blown away because there was like 30 people there, and that's like we're like, damn, this is 30 people at a local show. This is crazy. and we had people apologizing to us like, man, you came out from Baltimore. You're playing to such a small crowd. We're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
30
They're
people's not
they're
bad.
Like this is a small night for us. This is one of the worst nights we've ever had. We're like,
Not-
are you kidding me?
Incredible.
Not to speak for Jay, but Jay being in his band, Jay's told me before, yes, would you guys like to play for a lot of people? Yes, but the love of playing the music.
Right.
If-
well, but
ultimately what it is.
but I have to say our experience is actually very similar to yours. Like, I think it's just because you're in such a big metropolitan area, and us too. There's so many clubs and so many things, and there's all these young people. I mean, people don't in the metropolitan areas. People don't go to shows unless it's a big touring band that much. I believe me, we've played to 5 people a lot of times. And you're right, you really hit the nail on the head. People come to see their friend's band and then they go home.
When we were
Just
in
sad to see, but I understand it because, like, I don't know. Sometimes bands aren't cool. It's like-
Yeah. But I just think there's just so much on the coast. Like, that's why when you get in towards the Midwestern thing, I think those people are kind of starving for that.
Oh, yeah.
They need more like that.
Now, it's George and I have said it before. We are, at least before early on in this podcast, naive to the local DC metro area metal scene.
Yeah.
We knew a couple bands, but really naive to it.
Because we only go to the big touring bands that come through.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
How is this area for your guys? Death metal tech? None I can think of.
It's actually better than like we initially thought. Like the thing is, there's nobody like
What?
pulling it together, but there's definitely a lot of really great bands out there.
They're like
Noise them.
yeah,
There's-
but they're
There's like, I mean, we have like Condemn the Infected.
Yeah.
We have like actually a lot of really good like death grind bands that are out there that are like surfacing, which is
Noise 'em.
cool.
Yeah, just like George said.
like we're
Noise 'em.
definitely having. I feel like we're having kind of a resurgence, and there's like a lot of cool bands.
yeah.
Coming
The
out
thing
right
is
now,
with that though
which
is
I'm
that a lot of
excited
them
for.
don't play the venues that are known in the local area. Like in Baltimore, you got like the Auto Bar. That's about it because everything else is closing down.
Except Sidebar. Shout out to
Sidebar. Sidebar is
Sidebar's
fucking
been around
great.
forever, and they're always
Dude,
cool to everybody.
I love
Did
the
you-
Sidebar.
did you guys go to,
Sidebar is like my favorite venue to play here.
Did you guys go to Empire when it was open?
I was there at the last show when Haken played.
But we never played there.
We're friends with Yesterday Saints who played there
That was
also.
a good show.
They've been here. We're going to be seeing them tonight. We'll talk about that later. But what's your guys' experience of at Empire?
Well-
I never had the pleasure to go, unfortunately.
See, we've
I know
got
that-
an argument. I mean, Buke and I have been going there for 15 years, and the sound was never all that great, and I generally had some reason to be pissed off at the place. But he was like happy that the place closed down, and I was not because
Actually,
because now all these bands that we will not see anywhere else,
Yeah, they're gonna
not
skip
going to
right
come
over.
through here.
And I will admit, and Jay, I'll get to you. Tours have been announced, and I've seen posters and stuff. they're not coming here through this area anymore.
Yeah, you know, made Super
Curse
Joint.
you!
Super Joint might have come here, but oh no.
Well, hey, we got Cannabis Corpse coming through at least.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So, Jay, what do you want to say, buddy?
Oh, I was just going to, George was saying he generally had a reason to be pissed off at the place. And you could have stopped after you were just generally pissed off. And leave it at that.
Hey,
Wherever you go.
fuck you, buddy.
But it's interesting to watch. I mean, since I can see you guys, you know, the Perihelion is on one side of the table and you're on the other. And literally these guys were like sort of witness like one of the last shows there, and you guys, you know what I mean? Like the age is becoming extremely obvious here. Like, I caught the last show there, and you guys went there for 15 years. I think we might be all used up, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still going strong.
George, just give them the fucking laptop and mixer. This is the new generation here.
I didn't know that much about Empire, but like last year, Summer Slaughter came through there, and Morbid Angel wouldn't even play. Like, because I guess
That's not the first time that happened.
I guess the
bands.
frontman of Morbid Angel was not happy.
Yeah, a lot of
with the
bands
owner of
didn't like
Empire.
dealing with Empire. It's,
Yeah.
you know,
Speaking about Summer Slaughter, the little news we're mentioning right now, being a tech band, so Obscura had to drop
Obscura,
off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
been
not
on-
going anymore. Because there's up in PA, there's a one-off show with Beyond Creation and Calorie Cap for
Just
15
2 out of
bucks
the 3 bands you wanted to see
headlining, and so those are like that's the only reason I was gonna go. Anyway.
Luckily for me, like when Obscura dropped, I was like, damn, you know, that sucks. Because the reason they had to drop sucks for them, it sucks for everybody else who wanted to see them.
lost
But
money.
me personally, I was like, yes. Because I'm out of the area. So I wasn't able to go anyway. So
That
like
was-
last year
It's
I
always
missed
gone when the cool
last
bands
year I
come
missed
through.
like some of my favorite bands because I was out of the area again, and he was just sending me pictures like I was
It's like, yeah, I'm front row right now, dude.
I was like, I hate you right now. So
Check it out, man. Yeah, I know this is your favorite band. I'm having a great time right now.
What was
How's
the
North Carolina?
what's
Is
the
that
reason
going
they
well for
dropped
you?
out?
What's that, Jay?
Why did they drop out?
Visa
Visas.
issues.
Visas.
They couldn't get their visas
of course,
cleared.
always.
They got sodomed.
yep.
Yeah, they pulled us out.
Yeah.
Guys, so a little taste of the road. Your first album out. Been a whirlwind year for you guys.
So much more than we
so
expected.
obviously has not turned you guys off for doing this.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
man.
if not,
Not at all.
it's
Not at all.
flamed your guys' fire even more.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Where are the next couple months?
God, we're
hold
pumped
for you
about all
guys?
this stuff.
We kind of randomly got an offer last night to play at Louisville Death Fest, which is next weekend. So we took that, which is exciting because like we don't.
That
really
was
have
out of
that many
nowhere.
plans.
It was like,
But
Cool.
in the winter, hopefully we'll be doing a tour somewhere. We're not totally sure yet because we have a couple options, and I don't know.
we'd like to tour
I don't know.
at least once a year, probably in the summer. Ideally, once in the summer, once in the winter.
Now, you guys are at the age where
Love is in the air.
you know, a lot. This is when guys start to grow up, responsibilities start to start to hit you in the face.
Yeah.
Now's
Yeah.
when I hate to try to bring the atmosphere down, but now's when not being in a band, but I could see you guys being tested over the next
yeah, it
couple years and months and stuff like that.
It can definitely be a lot to like manage. But
I guess guys go to school or maybe find work and careers, start their families. But is
Right.
everybody on board with trying to do whatever you can make it work?
We're all on the same page. Our drummer is actually a little bit like what you were talking about now. He's like, I don't know if I wanted to get into this. It's a huge commitment. But, you know, now he's like pushing stuff that we haven't even mentioned yet.
You know, we talked last week to Joel of Throssenblatt. They're a band from Canada. With this age you live in, with the internet, you guys still could do that band that you guys are in different parts of the country.
yeah,
You send
Yeah.
them your stuff, he sends you his stuff, and
Yeah.
you put it all together, and the band could still exist that way.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever talked about that?
not really. That's kind of a little far out there right now. I mean,
Yeah.
at the bare minimum, we all have like 2 years of school left, which is like 2 years of like being able to have time to be in a
Yep.
band.
Yep.
Yeah, like we already all have jobs. You know, I was working 2 jobs, and our drummer is working all the time, and you know, so
Yep.
it was already hard for us to get together to begin with, but it's what we want to do, and we actually have fans now, so that's kind of cool, so we have
people
we have people to let down.
We're going to talk about this with one of our news stories too. You guys, extremely, intelligent guys. I'm already getting that from you guys, but you guys are not turned off by, and you guys already know you're not to shatter any dreams here that you guys aren't going to be living like Guns N' Roses in the 80s here.
Yeah.
500 strippers in the room, fast cars, drugs, rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But you know what?
I don't think any of us got into death metal expecting that.
I know, exactly. But you know what I'm getting from you guys, though? And
Might be able to eat one day.
what
Maybe, dude. Don't count on that either.
look at him. Look how fucking skinny he is. All you guys.
And all he does is eat when we podcast.
Yes.
So
Look, skinny, fat.
yeah, don't be a musician. You get to eat.
You see? Yeah, you guys all stay healthy because you're in a band. But it shines through you guys' enthusiasm.
Thanks.
It's and that's what if you guys keep that going, should take you guys, far.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know. Like, have you guys seen Revocation? Like, they're always out there, just like grinding it out.
It doesn't matter what the
You
situation
look
is.
at
just out there.
Battlecross, for example. Perfect example. Those guys have toured like 340 days a year.
Yeah.
350
Yeah.
for like the last 3 or 4 years, nonstop.
Yeah, you just gotta
Just get your fucking name
How
out
else
there.
are you going to get out there? You have to physically be out there, because nowadays the internet's a great tool, but there's so much stuff on the internet
nobody
that
cares
it's like
about.
nobody cares when they see your thing unless they already know it. It's like you
I
have to
always just
physically
say
get out there
it's
and
the best
throw it in their
move.
face.
Yep.
It's a blessing and a curse. You're absolutely right, man. It's sort of like you can reach 3 billion people, but so can 3 billion other bands.
Right,
so it's
yeah.
just like it's
great point.
tough. Yeah.
It's a great point.
That's why you gotta
You got to say
get out
something,
there.
George?
Yeah, I had a question earlier, but we sort of moved on when you were talking about school. What do your families think about you doing this? Are they like, it's cool as long as you're in school?
Kind
Pretty
of,
much.
yeah.
Be honest.
Kind of, yeah. Like my parents have always generally supported my music, but once I started going on to like the metal stuff, like I could tell they still supported me, but they would rather me do a different genre.
They push back with the woodwinds harder. Makes it,
Yeah, the woodwinds and the acoustic guitars, So they support me though, but they always worry about me on the road,
Of course.
So
Yeah, all of our parents are like fairly supportive.
yeah.
Good.
Fair,
is
but that's nice though. Fair. They're all like
Yeah.
fairly smart.
We're lucky to have them like help us out with some of our finances.
Of course.
We're not even 21. We can't pay for everything ourselves, and
so cool.
a lot of parents, rich or poor, would be like, "Well, this is what you want to do. You're on your own." But
It's a dumb decision, anyways.
yeah, but all of our parents are very supportive of it.
In school, have you guys found the metal kids, if there are any?
There are
in fucking-
none
Yeah.
in mine. There's one guy that wears a Black Dahlia Murder shirt sometimes.
He's a smelly kid, and you probably don't want to.
He's the tallest, like not the fattest, but the biggest. He's like 6'7", and like
There's
he
Black Dahlia guy
walks
again.
around. He's like,
Lurch.
yeah, he's a cool guy though. He's like president of the Humans versus Zombies Club, which is like
You guys go to school around here?
Yeah, we all go to school in Baltimore.
Cool.
In the area. Yeah. I mean, I found pretty metal people around Towson.
Yeah.
But
Did
like,
you say you were? Are you guys going to school for music?
Yeah, we're both.
okay.
The two of us are jazz majors.
So you go. Oh, is it an art school or is it just like a college and you're taking the music courses?
I just go to a normal college, but we have a pretty big music department at my school, and it's like a screen major, so it's pretty cool.
Right now.
Yeah, mine is. I almost went to his school actually. We both auditioned, we made it, but I ended up going to a smaller school. It was just more like for the music classes. I prefer like classes of like 5. It's more direct instruction.
Is it exactly like Whiplash?
No,
It's worse. So much worse.
That was a fucked up movie.
it's worse. They're emotionally
there's
throwing
no-
chairs at you. Yeah.
There's no happy ending.
You just leave with a bunch of school debt.
I got.
And for the record, actually, the ending of Whiplash was not a happy ending. He would have gotten in a lot of trouble for that shit.
Yeah.
That was not cool. I don't. That was not a good ending to that movie.
Yeah.
So, can we,
I would not say they went on to be the greatest of friends. That's a hard movie to watch, man.
That was.
Ach, I got to ask you about your playing. Fucking sick, brother.
Thank you.
Sick. Like Jay, I could watch you strap on a webcam and play. See,
I'm down.
But not you.
yeah,
Not me.
What's
Yeah,
that all
fuck
about? Why are
bass.
you leaving him out?
I love bass guys, but then I want to see this for a second right now.
All right.
We'll get back to the bass for a second.
Duke, I was kind of on edge there because you kind of paused after strap on, and I thought, where's he going?
I'd love to see you just put a strap on and play music.
Your
I think-
guitar.
How long you been playing?
I think I probably started playing seriously when I was like 14, so like 5 years or so. But I mean, I had a guitar when I was like 9, but
Well, my 1-year-old
play
has a little
YouTube
Fisher
songs
Price
and-
guitar still.
Yeah.
I started playing guitar at 15. I still cannot play. Well, I can, but not well.
Well, you just
Nowhere in
gotta-
your league.
you just gotta have like no friends and nothing to really do in high school. I think
Yeah,
that's why
I
everyone-
still didn't learn how to play
He
well.
still has no friends.
It's because I have short, fat, stubby fingers that
But
just I
every,
can't
like,
reach anything.
good musician you meet is just like a little off. 'Cause
all we do is
high
practice.
school is
Is-
just
Now, taking what you're being taught in school and you're learning, how's that application transfer over to playing death metal?
well, like I think everything we have Western music theory here, and pretty much everything's been based on that. So like I wouldn't say it's necessary to like write music or anything, but like it's cool to have like an understanding of like the roots of stuff.
Yeah, like adding on to that.
For death metal, it's totally not necessary.
Like,
You
yeah,
could just
But
play if you
in,
wanted to.
in school, though, is it important? This goes over my head. Music theory and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
in
Fucking
school,
time
in
signatures
school,
and
it's
all
definitely
that
important.
goes over my head.
In school, it's definitely important. The only real time we've utilized music theory,
I don't
and
think that was the whole question.
No, I was gonna say, do you maybe subconsciously are following something you may have learned in school when you're writing your music, or
kind of,
You're-
I mean, to some extent, but I think most of the album was written before we actually went to school.
Well,
So-
I was learning music theory in high school. So you started in
No,
college?
I knew music theory, but
Okay.
it wasn't like
So we wrote most of the album, the two of us. Sanjay wrote Common Transference
and all the good solos.
and a lot of the solos. So we would incorporate like some theory into our writing.
Yeah.
Mostly in the solo sections, like figuring out the key that the solo's in, so that way you can create a good solo instead of just
Yeah, dude,
dicking
try
around
this
the keyboard.
Hungarian minor scale.
One of our songs actually has a Hungarian minor scale, completely by accident. But we had to because that was the riff we wrote under the solo section, so we had to figure out what key that was in. So
Like Sanjay just used Dorian.
okay,
yeah,
now
yeah, and that's the other thing: knowing what you can replace and still have it fit the key.
with your guys' educated, minds now in this field, because we all take experiences in education we learn, and when we apply it to different things that we do. Do you find yourselves when you're listening to music? Sometimes you gotta kind of tell yourself, "Hey, stop
Dissecting.
dissecting
Yeah.
it as you're
Enjoy
listening
yourself.
to it."
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll hear things in solfege, and that really pisses me off. Because I don't even like listening to solfege. I wish I didn't have to take a class on it.
all the
but
do,
I'll
re,
hear
mis,
shit, and I'll be like, oh, that was a 3 chord.
Yeah.
And I'm upset that I knew that.
For me, it's like I'll listen to the music and then I'll hear an arpeggio and I'll immediately try to figure out what the chord was. Like, is it like a 7th chord? Is it a major minor? Is it like, what is it? And if and as the song keeps moving, I'm still trying to like figure that out. It's just a reflex, and I'm just like, stop it. And then if I just happen to miss it or whatever, then I have to go back and listen to it until I get the chord. And but
That's too much.
it's only really when I
Rain
apply
Man on us a
myself.
little bit
Like,
here, man.
As you learn more music theory, do you find yourself listening to like older classical metal album, not classical, but classic metal albums, and going, oh man, what the fuck are they doing there? That's out of
Ultimately,
key, or
no.
that's
ultimately,
Old metal
music is
albums-
about feeling.
The old
ultimately.
metal albums were so like you could still listen to like "And Justice for All," and like every song on there has these riffs that are still like cooler than like every riff you'll hear today. That there's some badass riffs on those old
Yeah,
records.
like ultimately, it's about feeling. You know, I only use music theory as a tool. I think it's something people should learn if you play music, and especially if you call yourself a musician, you should have some basic theory knowledge.
Yep. As the George, I'm trying to formulate my question so I'm not an idiot here. As Jay laughs at me,
not going to happen.
yeah, not going to happen.
No, I just that question actually started like this. You literally sound like your body is breaking down from all this knowledge.
As generations, grow up and listen to metal, as further along from when metal started with the Sabbaths and the Priests, do you guys give those early bands still the respect and as much props as
Absolutely,
Black Sabbath and them
Absolutely.
I
do?
definitely do.
As like somebody like George or
We wouldn't
Jay
even
would?
we wouldn't even be here if they didn't start it.
I asked because I just wondered if along the way, in generations, it was lost.
A lot
I
of
still
guys
think
I know,
all
like
badass.
not even in the metal genre, just a lot of people that I've talked to about music in general. The like the classic stuff. A lot of people are like, it sucks. I don't really like it anymore. It's old. I was
Brandon
like,
doesn't listen to Pantera. Brandon, I put on Pantera, and he's like, I don't like this.
no.
That's what started me.
That's not what I said. That's all I said. I like
Pantera. He says, turn this off. I'm sick of it.
I like Pantera, but always in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, Phil Anselmo's a racist. I don't dislike the riffs. I just kind of have a problem with them. But like,
I had to get over it.
their music is good. Like it's solid metal. But it's like I just don't listen to it because I just can't get over that.
Yeah, well,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't disagree with that.
I
So-
can definitely get over it. It's Pantera. I can't be upset
Like
about
he'll
it.
play me like Cowboys from Hell. I'm like, this is really good. Like in some of the solos that Dimebag plays, it's crazy. But like,
His name was Dimebag, which is
So,
there was a brief period of time, probably, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s, where all the like magazines and everything, they called him Diamond Daryl because nobody wanted to say Dimebag.
yeah.
And eventually that just went away. And
good. Dimebag.
Diamond Daryl.
Dimebag.
so when it came time for you to start trying to scream, and
I had 2 weeks.
how did that go?
Our vocalist left 2 weeks before tour.
Oh, shit.
And we were like,
jeez.
No notice. He's like, hey guys, I'm leaving.
it was like, I'm bye. And so we were like, all right, well, I guess we got to find a new vocalist. And
Who can learn all the songs?
we gave it like a week, and we were like, this isn't working. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll do them.
Luckily, he doesn't suck at vocals. So
Yeah, because
I was there for all his practice in the car.
I sit in my car like on the way to school every day. Yeah, it was awesome.
I was just going to say, give us a quick line of something with harsh vocals.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I can't do that.
Yeah,
I can get like 2 or 3 words out, and then I start coughing. And I can't do it.
And you hear these big names in the scene. They say it's an instrument.
Yeah.
Your death metal voice is an instrument, and you really got to work on it and take care of it and practice it.
Yeah.
And so you don't blow it out. And I know you guys were joking around earlier, but you said after your first tour, your necks were hurting you for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Real from
every day.
headbanging every day. How'd your throat hold up?
It was okay. It mainly hurt like after shows sometimes if I like didn't drink enough water. But usually it was gone by the next day.
Did you guys? You guys have mentioned a couple of times that you felt like you had like a lot of great opportunities and exciting things this year. Like, what are some of those? What are some of the things that you've been really pleased and proud that have happened?
Well, when we first released the record, we were in a motel, or I think we were in a Super 8 in Nashville.
No. It was the middle of nowhere, Kentucky.
No. I think it was Nashville. Remember, because that was where There's a Pizza Hut. No, there's a Pizza Hut in Kentucky. There was something different. There was something different in Nashville. It was Nashville because we talked to Malcolm that night.
You're right.
So we were in a Super 8 in Nashville, and like we released the album because we had Wi-Fi.
Oh, no. It was a Best Western. That's what it was.
It was a Best Western. We were at a Best Western. Like,
we had been selling the physical copies in the previous shows on tour, but we did the official digital release in that motel. So
sort of anticlimactic, right?
Yeah.
You're like, well, you want to hit the vending machine now?
Well, it's out there now.
yeah.
and then we did it, and like the response was really cool. So
Dude, I was looking through your guys' Facebook last night trying to do some research. Did I see when you guys made a post like it's on some Russian torrent site or something? Like, now you know you made it. Like Jay said the same thing. Once it hits the torrent sites and some Russian guy starts downloading it,
man.
you guys have fucking made it.
Like,
I think you should. You probably have Googled yourselves, but ours when we released it, and not to make it about me, it's just I think it's
all about
relevant to you. It's all about me. It's probably on a million
I'm happy to
Russian
hear.
torrent sites, and I think ours was up in like 24 hours. So yours probably was too. Yeah,
I had never
They're
thought
fast.
to check them.
Yeah,
and then I
like-
checked, and like I saw Perihelion, Infinite Decay, and then a bunch of stuff that I couldn't read. So I clicked on it, and I Google translated it, and I was like, "Damn!"
Those bastards.
I was like, "This is like $1,000 worth of downloads right here."
Yeah, exactly,
like,
dude.
At the end of
a tear rolled down his face. He's like, oh, fuck it.
at the end of the day, like people have the music. I'd rather people have the music than not have the music.
yeah.
And like, I'm assuming most of those people wouldn't have actually bought it. So like, it's cool.
Guys, to
Jam it.
be guys in school who just fucking released an album that was at least been downloaded a couple thousand times, maybe not legitimately. How's that fucking make you guys feel?
That's pretty.
I mean, this whole band has humbled me ridiculously. We're all aware of the opportunities we're getting, but every opportunity
And
was
don't
like,
you fucking forget it. You're on this podcast. This is where it all
This
starts.
is the pinnacle of your career right
This
here.
is-
like
it's all down here from here, boys.
the fact that like Archspire, one of the biggest tech death bands, one of our favorite bands, drops a show and we got contacted to replace them is like, it's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
we can't believe that this stuff happens to us. You know?
So that's why we brought you guys here. George, lock the door. When Maryland Death Fest in like 5 to 10 years comes around and they're headlining, you fucking think about us, boys.
I will.
You think about us.
I will.
You guys will get some comp tickets.
I'll be in the front. I'll be in the front row on my wheelchair.
These guys don't remember us. They're all fucking blown up now. But yeah,
Remember those losers we sat with in the basement that one time?
yeah, their
You
parents were
spilled
upstairs.
water on the guy's mixer, and like that was a dick move.
But so we'll unless Jay, you got anything else, we'll roll into the episode here.
I mean, like, about the torrent, so, like, I'm not even mad that people are torrenting it, honestly, because that means they want it, first of all, and second of all, I'm totally guilty of torrenting some albums. Like, I try to buy them as much as possible, because not only are you supporting the band, but you're supporting them financially, and especially in the metal community, a lot of these bands need that.
Yep.
But, again, being in a situation, I sometimes wanted to support a band, but I can't afford to buy, like, 3 or 4 albums at a time. So I want to support the band. I want to listen to the music. I'll torrent it, but I'll plan on buying it later. And even so, it's still a support. And ultimately, we just want our fans to hear our music.
Are you guys too young for Napster?
Oh, I've heard of Napster. Yeah, I've not.
I mean,
Heard of Napster.
I've heard of it.
Not
I never
really.
used it. We know
I
about
feel like
that.
I'm
Crazy,
crazy. That's
George.
this thing.
No, I remember LimeWire being a big
I
thing.
used Napster temporarily, and then I was like,
Fucking
what is this?
the thing that changed the face of the music industry. Started to bring it all fucking down. And he's like, I heard of it.
Hey,
Hey,
when
you
Napster
know,
came out, it was awesome, man. It was the
Yeah.
best. I used to use Napster to just get stuff I couldn't find. You know what I mean? That
It was all
not
shit.
available.
It was like, oh, is a bad, a shitty fucking bit rate, or
All the
or
file
like,
names were wrong.
yeah, or one of the songs was missing.
That's like my
and-
pet peeve about torrents when like the files are misspelled.
Or
Yeah,
on Napster, a lot of the fucking files were those ones with like the beep track.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I would never review anybody that sends me a beep track fucking promo.
Yeah.
I get most of my music through promos from the labels, so I will still go out and then buy something off Bandcamp to support a band that I've reviewed that I really like. I'm like, they'll send me the MP3, and I don't do MP3s anymore. I do FLAC files because I prefer the higher fidelity.
Yeah.
And so, a band will send an MP3, and I'll be like, it's okay, this is cool. Review them or put them on the podcast or whatever, and then I'll go out and buy it on Bandcamp to support the band.
Right.
So I
Right.
still do my part more than most people probably.
Like,
I'm sure.
one of our favorite bands is Inferi, and the guitar player is Malcolm that we were talking about earlier with the Best Western. He messaged us reviewing our album. I love the album, one of their albums, Path of Apotheosis, but I don't have it on my phone because I don't want to torrent it. Because not
Our
only
friend that just
he's our friend.
I can't do this.
He's a cool guy. We've actually met him now.
He let us play with the snakes.
Right, like I don't want to torrent it, but I can't like buy it right now because like I just don't have $10 to spare, and so like I just want to wait. Like I want to torrent our friend's album who said he likes our album, and he's like, I don't want to do that to him. Like,
Thanks, I'm glad you like our album. By the way, I'm going to go steal yours now.
like,
Wow. Well, George, you want to
Sure.
take a break and then roll into the... Do you guys need a water, or are you guys good to
That
go?
would be-
No,
I don't
more
think
water.
it should have any water.
I could.
All right, we're back from our break. And before we get into the main part of the podcast, we're going to play a song from Infinite Decay by Perihelion. The first song we're going to play is the title track, Infinite Decay. Can you guys take a minute to tell us a little bit about the song? I know
This
you
is
mentioned it a
like-
little bit already.
This is the first song that I think we wrote for this band, and also it's been like we've opened every show with it except for one, and that show didn't go well because we didn't.
We didn't open with that song. So.
Superstitious, eh?
So like, yeah, this is like
This
I don't know,
is
it's like
the
our
opening
our
song.
opening song. So I guess it's cool.
Oh, hey, there you go. That
That's
fits
why
with
we put it on there. Yeah. Also, we named the album after this song purposefully because we as music listeners as well. We know when we listen to an album and we see it has a title track, we're like, this better be like the best fucking song in the album,
Master of Puppets.
So we're trying what we took like our favorite song pretty much from the album and titled that as the album name, and also it just matched the artwork so well. So
Did we actually do that? I'm pretty.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we got together and said, "What should we just call the album Infinite Decay?" And we were like,
we were right there in your
And
room.
we were like-
we wrote it on the whiteboard.
"Yeah, we'll just call it."
They got a whiteboard, dude. They're organized.
We do have a whiteboard.
All right. Well, check it out. This is Infinite Decay.
Fight
All right, that was Infinite Decay by Perihelion.
That was a solid tune right there.
Killed it.
The guys are going to be sticking around with us today, so you'll be hearing them throughout the rest of the podcast. And of course, stick around to the end, and we will play you another song off the album Infinite Decay. If you haven't heard yet, Maryland Death Fest tickets have gone on sale. So make sure, if you're in the area or if you're planning to come to the area, that you pick up your tickets. I've got my tickets. Jay's got his tickets. Our friend John, he got his tickets. Buke's probably going to wait to the last minute like he always does.
I'll get them now. You guys been to a Death Fest ever from the area?
I unfortunately have not.
We haven't.
We only went to our first last year.
Yeah, because the lineup has been okay, but
We have a
We're
friend
hoping
who's
to
going.
play it next year. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
we're seeing.
Something tells me you'll be headlining next year, man. The way things are
That
going
would
for you
be-
guys.
That would be insane. That would be crazy.
stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, so, tickets are out there.
Yeah,
Go
it's-
get them. It's going to be a cool show.
It's-
I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very,
Totally
very cool
excited.
show.
It's always a cool
huge.
show.
One of the biggest death metal festivals around. Yeah.
Yep.
At
Yeah.
the very least, it would be a bunch of cool people hanging out in a parking lot.
Yeah, we had a blast
We
last
did.
year.
Yeah. Drank beer, watched bands, slept in cars, spooned
Yeah.
a little.
We think our tour was.
There's a lot of spooning. Keep caressing.
Yep. Those lonely nights on the road.
It can get to you.
So I wanted to mention that I recently started reading the new book by Randy Bly, Dark Days, a Memoir. One of the first things I learned in the book was that it's pronounced Randy Bly.
Oh, dude, I was just going to say, is that how
you
you pronounce
serious?
it?
Yeah.
I always pronounce it Randy Bly.
I found that out right when you said that. Like when you're like this new book by Randy Bly. I was like,
That's wrong.
Yeah.
One of the first things he says in the book is, nobody can say my name right.
Randy
It's
Bly.
Bly, like fly. I was like,
Wow.
okay, Randy Bly. It's like Captain Bly.
So the
I-
second half of his last name was
It's
silent.
not
Yeah,
there.
yeah, he said the TH is silent. So Randy Bly
Wow.
has a book out.
Oh, my world is shattered.
It's called Dark Days, a Memoir. I'm about 60% through the book. That's what my Kindle tells me anyway. And
How is it so far?
it's really good.
Yeah.
It's inspiring. Makes me want to be not quite such a piece of shit. I mean, he's very regimented and like
Is he honest in it? Like brutally honest?
yeah, and it's pretty
brutal.
interesting. It's pretty depressing, and it also makes me enjoy the new Lamb of God album a little bit more because I'm reading the book and I go and read the lyrics and I'm like, oh, okay, well, Still Echoes is completely about the guillotine that was down the hall from his cell where the Nazis used to just guillotine tons of people. And then the song 512 is his cell number. And he's got some pretty amusing stories about his Mongolian cellmate.
Has the event where the fan died occurred in the book yet?
Yeah.
Did he
it's-
realize
No.
it had happened?
No, he didn't. Had no idea. It's funny because the Czech police and court system is pretty fucked up compared to the American one, and they basically had him thinking that he did it
Wow.
because, well, I mean, he didn't have anything to go on. They wouldn't let him even see a picture of the kid.
Yeah, they
so
were
he
just
had
like, "You
no
killed the guy."
idea what he looked like, but then he saw video of it and he saw photos and he remembered this kid that he had throttled on stage because the kid kept coming up on the stage and there was no security, and he was like, "Oh man, I probably killed that kid," but that wasn't even the one that died.
Oh.
So he has no memory of the kid that died, and well, that's ultimately why he was let go. There was no proof of anything
Yeah,
that he had done anything, but
I've always said the very class act on his part too, where he could have just stayed here in the States and never gone back.
yeah.
He went back to face it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so it's a good read. Just check it out.
Cool, man. That sounds awesome. I'm totally. Did
reading
you guys
it,
see As the
did-
Palaces Burn yet?
I haven't.
I started it. I haven't finished it yet. So
You had ought to. I mean, it's. I have a feeling this is obviously more detailed, but I'm totally. You totally sold me on that, George. I'm going to pick it up.
cool.
George, I remember reading on the news around the time. Didn't even sound like the not guilty came out that he felt safe. Like did
Really?
Well, reading the book, did he feel not guilty. Obviously, he went back.
I haven't gotten that far
Okay.
yet.
Because no, obviously he went back knowing he did nothing wrong.
He's getting ready to be released on bail. And the whole situation, the band had to scrape together $200,000 bail to get him out. And
Wow.
and they paid it, and they didn't let him out because their judicial system's fucked, and the prosecuting attorney can object, and so then they have to go through another few weeks of court proceedings to decide whether or not to uphold the objection. And so then they just finally decided, okay, you can have your bail, but you have to pay twice as much. So they had to scrape together another $200,000
Really?
before they would let him go. So that's fucked up.
This is kind of
So
riveting.
guys,
dude. I feel
whenever
like you
fans
could
get on
tell the
stage
story.
now, just hug them.
I usually do.
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah, but maybe just don't kill him.
Are you sure?
So I gotta ask. I spent last weekend in the car driving from here to Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and when I'm in the car with my wife, we pretty much institute if you're driving, you control the radio.
Yeah.
And I was driving, and Anthrax was on with "Among the Living," and I'm like driving, and I'm enjoying myself. It's a classic song. Don't hear it enough. About halfway through, she's like, "This is boring," and changes the fucking channel on me. I'm like, "You don't do that to a man." And so I just wanted to, has anybody else ever had their woman go and just change the channel on a awesome song?
No, I wouldn't be dating you.
I would not be married to my wife. My wife, when I get in the car, first off, she never drives unless under the influence or sick or when it's proper for her. Proper for her to drive when it's time.
Yeah.
Yes, women are not allowed to drive.
Yeah, that came off as really funny.
She
only drives if I'm too drunk to.
Bitch knows her place.
I'm the one who drives
No.
here. It's fucked up.
Because I wanted to be like, babe, just relax. Go on Facebook. Go on Twitter.
Just be pretty. Don't have a job. Just
lot.
Because on top of
let
that,
the man do all the manly things.
On top of that, guys, she grew up. She's an NSYNC girl. So if she gets the radio, it's pop. I'm telling you.
Sorry.
So I get in the car. I'm like, hey, babe, you want to listen to the radio? Knowing, because it's the questions asked. Do you want to listen to the radio? No. And it never gets. It's always metal.
I've been with my girlfriend for over 2 years, and she hates metal.
That's a lot for kids your age now. Good for you.
Thank you. Like, love her to death. She hates metal.
Yeah.
She says it's scary, and it makes her cry sometimes.
I had a friend of mine. She went to a Slayer show with us, and she cried because the pit was so crazy.
Right. Because she's like,
My girlfriend got bit during the Faceless. And she said, man, that was metal. I was like, yeah, it was pretty metal.
Yeah, it was for you.
Anyway.
So like, if I put on, because I listen to death metal in the car, like what I was talking about before, it's not like the classic thrash metal, so it's like real heavy stuff, and she will tolerate it.
He just said thrash metal isn't heavy. He said, man,
you know what
I listen to heavy stuff. I don't listen to that
Pussy stuff.
old, stupid thrash metal bullshit. I listen to heavy stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So like,
Anthrax is going to have words.
Like, she supports Perihelion, she supports me and everything, but she'll let me have the music on as long as that's like inaudible, like volume of like 4 or 5.
Right.
Other than that, she'll let me put on like Mumford and Sons, and she'll put that loud, So
But he bumps Mumford and Sons, so that's his jam.
I don't have any guilty pleasure bands because I'm not ashamed of what I listen to.
Yeah.
You're looking at the big one right here.
I've got 2 Mumford and Sons albums on vinyl upstairs.
Yeah, like I don't even.
He just thought to himself. He thought about getting up and leaving.
This isn't very metal. You can't listen to other kinds of music. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't used to. When I was in high school, it was like, 80. I was in high school in the late 80s and early 90s, and anything that wasn't like thrash, you were posers,
Yeah.
The poser era.
In middle school, I hated anything that was made after like 1985. I was like, all new metal sucks. So I'm gonna just listen to Slayer.
Yeah. So, but eventually, after I got out of school and I was out long enough, because in high school and stuff, I hated all the music that the people I hated liked, and so it was all the pop music and stuff. And
I still hate that stuff.
But by like 4 or 5 years after high school, I was like, all right, I could listen to some U2. It's not bad.
Yeah. Well, their original stuff is better though. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait till you guys get older and have a child, then you can really start to mold.
Man, back in my day.
Yeah. My daughter and I spent the morning today watching Opeth fucking set. So,
Like, I would like to thank my dad for getting me into the music I am. I was listening to like Zeppelin and the Beatles when I was like 4.
Right
awesome.
on.
Yeah,
So
great.
like by the time I was like 10, and my friends were listening to like you're saying, like all the pop stuff like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. I was like, I'm ready to listen to some Rush.
Yeah.
I'm like,
There you go.
My children are going to grow up on Slam. I'm going to make them listen to Bound to Trinity. The first song, when they're still in the womb, I'm going to put the speakers up and play throat fisting Abortion
It's this guy here.
and see how they feel about it. Because I feel like it's a good way to start your life off.
yeah, good way to have a miscarriage.
Jay. Never had that problem?
Never happened to me. So I wish I could kind of chime in and tell you it had, but it just.
Does she should just sit there and take the metal, or do you just not play it?
Well, we play some metal and some of what she wants to listen to. So
takes the
and
D.
I don't
what-
think she gives a shit what we
I
listen to.
created a playlist for my girlfriend that's just not
you made
metal
her a
stuff.
mixtape?
Yeah, dude, check out this mixtape I made.
This mixtape is fire,
So
fam.
kids don't make mixtapes anymore. They make playlists.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
it's adorable.
So it's basically everything on my phone besides the death metal.
It's
Just
adorable.
play that for
cool.
Let me ask you this: Is it what's her name?
Sarah.
What is the name of the playlist? Sarah.
No.
Or Driving with Sarah.
I named the playlist gay.
Wow. Wow.
I know that totally. That's like
How very not appropriate in this day and age.
I know. Like if
George edited it out. It's okay.
No, I'm not. No,
you look at my beliefs on the issue, like, and then you see the name of the playlist, and you're just like, why would you? Like, yeah, it has nothing to do
Look
with
at your
my
bandmate
beliefs.
here.
He looks embarrassed of you. He's like, "Oh my god, I
Hey.
can't believe I play bass with it." Or the kid plays bass with me.
He's
See?
kissed more guys than girls.
Yes! Hey! Drunk nights at the bar.
Perihelion. Have you kissed?
I've kissed I play in a comedy slam band on the side. I'm pretty sure I've kissed every member of that band.
We on the last night of tour we kissed in celebration.
Did
Yeah.
we?
He doesn't even remember it.
Oh dear.
We went back to his house and had a party, and I was like,
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
he's like, man, I've kissed so many guys. I can't believe I haven't kissed you yet.
That's why these guys are going to make it.
Maybe right now we could get our first male on male podcast.
Okay.
Yes.
Nah.
I guess that's pretty slam.
Yeah, that is. That's how bands make it today, Jay.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
You gotta
dude.
have a gimmick.
I have to repeat a joke that Buke joked to me not long ago via text, and we were talking about how we have like no gaydar whatsoever. Like I could work with a guy like in a dress, you know what I mean? And I'm not stereotyping or something. And then somebody would tell me they were gay, and I'd be like, "Jack's gay? What are you talking about?" You know? And I was telling this to Buke, and Buke said, "Oh," he said, "No, man. He said I could run into a guy blowing another guy, and I think he lost a bet."
Be like, what? You drop your keys? Anyway.
No, we've always said that if there was ever like an anti-gay rally, we would just start making out in front of them just to piss them off. Like we just have no tolerance for that stuff. You know?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
No tolerance for intolerance.
Yeah.
You man.
Yeah.
Rock it.
That's not slam.
All right, I've got a little rant. Every once in a while, I have a little rant that I go off on,
I'm
and
excited.
this one's not going to be that
Just
animated.
push the mic away. We'll let you have it already.
This one's called "Fuck Stupid People and Their Love of Short Podcasts." Here we are. We're a little bit over our first hour into the podcast. We haven't even cracked the surface yet. Me and Buke and Jay were talking the other day, and I don't know, who was it? Somebody was saying, I think it was Jay, how some people had said the podcast was too long. Because, our podcasts are known to hit 4 hours long. And fuck those people. What kind of fucking pussy are you that you can't listen to a podcast that's longer than an hour? What, do you have to go for your fucking bedtime or something? What the hell? It's not like it's live, like you can't stop and come back to it.
Well, if you look at like how like a lot of like article-based websites are lined up these days, like most of them, all their shit is compiled in lists.
Yeah.
Because dumb people like lists.
They all have fucking ADD like this
They
joker
don't
over
want
here.
to sit there and read
Don't
detailed
sit there.
stuff.
So you could skim through, you can get all the points and read like 10 sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even sentences. There's bullet points.
Yes.
Yeah, like our fucking script.
Yeah, like our script. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, how fucking lazy are you? I mean, if you want to listen to a podcast, listen to a podcast. If you want to listen to a fucking news clip it, then fucking go watch TV or something. But frankly, I'm not going to name any names, but there's some podcasts out there that I like that I feel like there just isn't enough meat on their bones. You know, it's like they talk for 10 minutes, do an interview, and then I'm like, I want more.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even sit through an hour podcast myself because I don't have time. I listen in the car, I listen, here and there or wherever, and I'll do it in 15, 20 minute little, bites. I'll pause it and I'll come back to it later. If we were a like hardcore weekly, every week, 4-hour podcast, I could see where people might not have time to get through that.
Yeah.
But, when you're only doing like 2 a month, what the fuck are you complaining about? That everybody always seems to want more of everything, except when it comes to a podcast, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
Or information.
yeah.
While we're on this tangent here of like unrelated stuff, I'd like to point out that these headphones you guys gave us are really cool.
The motor headphones.
Because they say motor headphones on the side.
Yeah.
And it has like the Motorhead's font and everything.
Yeah.
These are really cool.
Yeah, I like them.
I think you should just get Lemmy's mustache.
I might.
And
I
like
just
the
get,
mole.
get rid of that right there.
In the mole.
Yeah.
yeah.
It might be better. And I can start playing bass.
Yeah. And you have to set the mic way up. So
Every time I see them live, it's so funny because he looks like a midget because the mic is up here coming down and he's like looking up at it like that. I was like, it's like, are you really that short or is it just like?
I don't know. Maybe he does it to like open up his throat because he's
Yeah, I
always
think
done it that
that's-
way.
Yeah.
He's the only person
Just
I've
a
I think
seen
it's,
that.
I think it has to do with the way he sings. I
Yeah.
mean, the way he has to sing. Yeah.
Sounds like throat cancer.
I
Yeah.
love them though.
It's great.
Yeah. He's getting up there though, man. He looks pretty. Well, we've talked about that before. He's just starting to look kind of scary, but he's like,
Oh, he's always been pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
Like the biker
the mole.
look, It's the mole. It's the mole. It's just always staring at you.
Yeah, it's like the 4th member of Motorhead. I don't know. It's usually 3 people, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, why don't we get into some news? This first item I'm going to pass over to Jay.
Mastodon is doing a tour with Judas Priest, or probably the other way around is a better way to put it. But I thought that was kind of cool news. They've opened for all of the cool bands, all of the cooler bands. They opened for Maiden, Metallica. So this is one to check off their bucket list, I guess.
Too bad. What's his name doesn't like metal.
I don't know if I'm. What? That's right. I don't know if I'll even go. They're playing in San Jose, which is like an hour from me, an hour to get there. But I think I just heard there was a show closer to me, so I might actually go to that. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen. Also, I think Priest is a little bit past their prime. So I don't know if I'm going to go. Yeah. So I've seen them. I've seen both of them plenty of times. So no, I don't know. But it's kind of interesting news. Nice to see kind of new school, old school getting together, doing a tour like that. Will you make any attempt to go?
Nah.
I saw
Yeah.
Mastodon on that tour they did with Gojira. That was, I mean, obviously both those bands are fucking
30-foot
awesome.
fucking banner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
had
went to that
Mastodon
one.
had this huge banner on the back. Like, I don't know how you get artwork drawn to that detail, but yeah,
Cool.
they're awesome
Yeah.
to see live.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we saw them. At least I saw them with Down and Ghost, and
No, that's awesome.
that was a good tour.
Yeah, like,
Whales.
I mean, Priest is a classic, of course.
Yeah, he's lost a step. I mean, Rob Halford can't sing like he used to, but they're still worth seeing if you've never seen them.
Yeah.
I can't sing like he used to either.
So, before I get into this next one, I have to ask you guys, being younger, have you ever seen Ghostbusters?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This next item's about that. If you haven't heard, they're filming like a reboot of Ghostbusters with like all women or something. And I just heard the other day that they put out a call for metalheads in Boston.
Yeah, I saw that. I was on like Metal Sucks, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to read the article, But like the title is like this is pretty cool. You know, I wonder what they're going to be using specifically metalheads for. You know?
Yeah, and obviously they want like a group of metalheads, so there's going to be like a concert or you know. I wasn't all that interested in seeing them.
I hope they know to turn away hardcore kids.
Yeah. Make sure you're getting metalcore kids.
Actually, I have a prediction about this, and it's that there'll be. Here's my mic coming in the picture. That there'll be a sort of some band is going to accidentally raise a demon or something, and they're going to have to go put it down.
See, now that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So
I'm willing to bet it's going to be something like that.
Band.
But and there'll be some one embarrassing shot where there's like one stoner-looking metalhead guy going, "Far out, man! This is
He'll probably actually be high though. He's a metalhead.
Count on it."
Yeah.
It's actually just an outtake they got. In one
Or it's, you know what? It's stock footage, probably. You know what I mean? Like it ends up in every movie.
If you need any outtakes for your movie, just film metalheads getting high.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's more than like the Cannibal Corpse in the Ace Ventura, where it was just sort of they're playing on the stage.
That was funny though.
Yeah. But
well, I'm pretty sure Jim Carrey only did that because he actually like loves Cannibal.
Yeah.
Corpse.
Yeah, that's what they said.
I think that on its own is hilarious. Like you look at Jim Carrey and you're just like, there's no way this guy is a metalhead, and you're just like, damn, he loves Cannibal Corpse.
He loves
That's
his
awesome.
metal.
Cool.
All right. So the band Satan is streaming a new song called "The Devil's The Devil's Infantry" from their forthcoming album "Atom by Atom," which is going to be released in October. Has anybody heard that yet?
Honestly, no, but I'm interested to hear it. You know,
It wasn't bad. I mean, they're like a new wave of British heavy metal band from back in the day, and you know, it still sort of sounds new wave of British heavy metal, but it didn't sound too bad.
Did I see them at Death Fest next year?
Yes, they are. That's one of the bands that I'm like, you're supposed to like these bands. So that'll be probably a convincing view.
Every year the Death Fest like lineup is released, I'm like, I'm a terrible metalhead because I've never heard of like half these bands.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, like there's so many out
keep
there.
track of.
Right.
Spread out
There's
over different
plenty.
venues.
Like I'm looking through like the list of like 50. I'm like, oh, I know that one. I know that one. Yep.
We gotta start
you know,
having listening exams. Like graded.
honestly, guys, we haven't heard a lot of them either.
yes, we haven't.
You know,
some of them.
I want to suggest you look at the poster for the California
Jay,
Death Fest.
when you
It's,
say we haven't, you mean this
You and me.
half of the room. This guy over here.
yeah,
I've heard of
just
a lot
fine.
of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really want to suggest you look at the California Death Fest poster. It's put on by the same guys, but it's all of these black metal band names that you can't read, and then right in the middle is this one band called Party
Party
Cannon, and it's written in like and it's written like in a Toys R Us. Toys R Us. It looks so hilarious on the poster.
That's actually a really good show though. Like there's, I think Fallujah and Origin are like the headliners for one of the days.
There's not enough there to really get me to go, and I have to admit it's like 10 minutes from my house. But but hey, Maryland Death Fest, man, Venom, that's what I'm all about.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Satan, that's cool that Satan's going to be there. I saw them last year, and they were great.
So another news item that Jay told me about was that Arab Altor, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Arab
Why not?
Altor are doing an album of Bathory covers. I
guess they're like huge fans.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's a
there
good
you
thing
go.
to be because Bathory's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah,
We don't have
I was
any-
excited. Go ahead.
So we don't have any info yet that I'm aware of on when that might be coming, but
No, but they actually,
It's a
I think,
cool
already
concept.
picked the songs. It was on their Facebook page. I actually asked just George to put this news thing on because I'm really into their record this year, their new record. So
Yeah, they're
and
good.
so it's cool. I think that'll be cool to hear. See
I
how
will
they
definitely be
interpret
checking that out.
this. Right on.
I'm curious to which songs they'll be playing. I saw they were just like one track from this album, two tracks from this album. I'm like, I think they were going to do two from Hammerheart, so I'm curious.
I was under the impression they might have chosen them via fan input too, which is kind of cool. But I'm trying to remember. There was something on Facebook, and it was like, "What songs should we record?" Or I can't remember. But good stuff.
Yeah, all right. So Kerry King's making friends again.
Oh yeah, big time.
Says people aren't going to the Mayhem Fest because the bill is shitty. Duh.
Before anybody says,
Well, yeah, 'cause they got
before anybody
Slayer
says
on
anything,
there now.
Can I just point out that it's a? I really have to start this off by saying it's a bad idea to say people aren't coming to this show because it's nothing but shitty bands. If you're the headliner, that's not a great idea. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of like saying all these bands suck and we're one of them. But
Well, suddenly he couldn't figure out why nobody on the tour would talk to him.
It
Not
really
that
sucks.
not that I don't agree with him. I do.
Mayhem
Yeah.
Fest has
Yeah.
never been like the best lineups.
No, I haven't been in a while. I know there were a few years where Puke was like, "Come on, let's go to Manfest, you pussy."
I've never wanted to go to Manfest.
There have been cool bands like Urine, I think, but
You're not going to pay a festival price to go see one band.
Yeah,
I might. The band.
And stand around all day in the sun to do it. You know,
Right,
I mean, like
right.
that, not to sound like an old guy, but I've seen
You know what? I agree with you.
come back. So, you know,
Yeah, he's an old
but
guy
man,
too,
he's got a big mouth, dude.
he does.
It was, I don't know. It, like, on one hand, like, yeah, the lineup was a lot less this year than it normally has been, but on the other hand, like, you're still on the tour. And, like,
shut up, you know.
yeah, and plus, like, I don't know. I feel like if you're Slayer, you can't be mad that other bands aren't having a draw. Like, you should probably have.
You've
a
already
decent
made
draw.
it. So,
And anyway, I think he's wrong too. That's not why people aren't going. You know, it reminds me of a joke from Spinal Tap where they run into. Have you guys seen Spinal Tap?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a scene where their show has just been canceled and they're at the hotel and this other like major rock star and he looks like David Coverdale. I don't know who he is, but he comes in and they're like, where are you guys playing at? He goes, oh, we're playing the Forum. You know, it's like some huge place. And then when he walks away, they all go, what a wanker that guy is. They said, we played with him. People were still booing him when we went on stage, which I think means people were actually booing Spinal Tap. You know what I mean? We're still booing him when we went on.
You know, the festivals here in the States, I think, have never had a full bill, start to finish.
No.
It, you know,
like the original Summer Slaughter bills used to be
Oh my
like
God.
the Summer Slaughter, I think, maybe the strongest
2007.
bill.
Yeah,
Like,
like they
ridiculous.
used to be like all death metal bands and like solid death metal bands, and now you get like 2 or 3, and then a couple like core bands or like gent bands or whatever.
Last year
now
was
Arch
pretty
Enemies
great,
headlining
actually.
Summer Slaughter. You know, like
Yeah. AKA Jeff Loomis. Is
yeah,
headlining
right,
Summer
yeah. Jeff
Slaughter.
Loomis is headlining Summer
For me,
Slaughter.
as far as I'm concerned, because that's who I would be going to see.
Pretty sure Jeff Loomis is the only reason Arch Enemy is actually headlining Summer Slaughter.
We all love Jeff Loomis, by the way, and we're all, at least 2 of us, are really hoping for a Nevermore reunion. I might add.
Oh my, that would be like Nevermore is. They're like the band that got me into like shreddy guitar stuff. I love them to death.
World Dane says that it's not impossible. They might do another record together. We'll see.
No, you're
I would be stoked.
one of your main guitars is the Loomis signature.
Yeah,
Really?
I play a Loomis signature, the
I used to have-
older model, and
I used to have one of those, dude. They're great guitars.
they are, and like they're ash, so they're really sturdy. So like on tour, I didn't really have to mess with it that much. It was in tune pretty much every night. The action was great. My setup didn't get fucked up.
What do you
by,
play
like,
now?
I still play it.
Oh, do you?
I have that, and I have a Legator Ninja, which is essentially an Ibanez. So it's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, I never asked you, what do you play?
He plays Gibson.
Yeah, I play Gibsons. Yeah, Hey, it's funny too because it was fun to listen to you guys, and I don't disagree in any way with anything that you said in the interview about how easy it is to do like all these great amp models and things. But it makes me feel so old and outmoded, man, because I'm such a tube amp, grip it and rip it guy.
Oh,
I use
yeah.
Gibson
I mean, at the
amps.
end of the day, tube amps
Yeah.
are just like
We all.
it's so much cooler, but
I think all of
But
us
no,
do
I-
prefer the original, like a physical amp. Like I very much prefer a physical amp over like a
But
model.
George, he
sound.
couldn't even afford money to buy his friend's album.
Right.
Kids today have struggles, Jay.
But yeah, but I use an orange amp and Gibsons. I got Les Paul and an SG, so.
That's a classic sound, you know, orange amp.
Yeah, but I
What was that?
don't have that Loomis anymore. But really, man, those Loomis guitars are killer. I love
are.
them. Super guitars.
I mean, the Gibson and Orange setup wasn't that pretty much Black Sabbath earlier?
Yeah, orange amp.
Paranoid music
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah, Jay has a geriatric setup.
I do. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, it
it's
runs
like
on
the
a
best
it
setup.
runs on a diesel fuel. I have to put diesel fuel in quarters in the side to keep it going.
All right, so there's a new unnamed Flotsam and Jetsam album that is apparently well underway. Somebody was interviewing Eric, the singer, and he didn't give any details, like a name or anything like that, or any sort of due date for this creation, but is a big Flotsam and Jetsam fan. I can't wait to hear it.
When we saw
Yeah,
them the
okay.
last time, that's when their most recent album came out.
No.
Ray was about to come
Oh,
out,
wait.
remember?
Yes,
it was.
yes, you're right. It was Ugly Noise.
Yes,
Was it? Were they opening or headlining?
they were.
the opening
They were an
song?
opener.
Yeah, that was, who headlined that show?
That was at the Fillmore.
It was at the Fillmore, yeah. I don't remember who the headliner was.
Not sure, but
Yeah.
the album was nothing special in my opinion. It didn't live up to, I think, because I didn't hear you talk much about it after it came out. Did it not meet your expectations? What you were hoping?
It didn't. The one before that, though, The Cold, that was their comeback album. That was fucking brilliant. So I'm kind of hoping the new one. And I feel like he said that it had sort of an older vibe to it. So hopefully it'll be cool. Because
I like them. I'm a fan of theirs, so I'm looking forward to it.
They never got the credit they deserved, and
not even close.
I'd like to see them get a little more attention.
Yeah, so Monster Magnet, we talked about this in the last pod, and these guys are like my favorite, just straight up kind of hard rock band. I think they bristle when people call them metal, but they're kind of stoner rock, I guess people would say. Mm-hmm. But they released a record not last year called Reimagining of Lost Patrol, which was the last record, and now they're going back and giving the same treatment to their record Mastermind, which is a great record. And really what they do is basically take, I think, some fundamental tracks from the record, like bass and drums, and everything else they just fucking fuck up and do all kinds of weird stuff to. So I'm excited about that. Mastermind's a really good record, so
fuck it up.
I'd like to hear them do this for Power Trip.
Exactly. And you know what? We'll see how far he goes back to do this. But yeah, I'm excited. I like these guys. I think Dave Windorf is a kind of a mad genius. So totally excited for this one.
Excellent.
And this next one, I was looking on Twitter the other day when this popped up. Pepper Keenan announced that there's the guys in Down have started working on a new Down album at some point, whatever early stages they may be in.
The new EP.
Yeah, the new EP. It was announced years ago that these EPs were going to be like a 4-part EP series. They just put out the first 2 in recent years, so we would think that this would be the 3rd part of that for like their new stuff that they've been doing. And more importantly with this news is that he's back with COC doing a follow-up to, what's it, In the Hands of God?
In the Arms of God. Yeah, it was the last Corrosion of Conformity album.
Yeah. So I like COC. I like what he's done with them. So it'd be cool to.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited by that. In the Arms of God was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a great record, dude.
I don't think anybody could be upset about a new Down.
Oh no,
record either.
No, of course not.
We're gonna be seeing them next month at Barbecue.
Yeah, though I am upset that they haven't stuck to their release schedule.
They're supposed to do one a year.
No, they said we're going to do a 4-part EP and we're going to release them about 6 months apart. Yeah, bullshit. 6 years apart. Fucking dicks.
Well, Necrophagus. Yeah, we think Summer Slaughter 2009. That'll be the record release for the tour.
Here we are, 2015.
Yeah.
No album name, no album art, no new songs.
Maybe album art. Speculated album art.
Like the most convincing piece of album art so far. But
it looks good.
It looks good, but it's probably not actually theirs.
So we don't have any album title yet, but the song titles for the new Megadeth album have been revealed. Whoop-de-doo. They look like they're going to be political, like they tend to be these days. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Cautiously optimistic, but not too much.
We're going to have to give it a listen, see what Adler can do with them.
We'll see what happens. I want to sneak one in here, George, that is a very...
I was sneaking one in there.
Sneaking one in. That there was a very short snippet of the new Maiden record posted this week. I don't know if you guys heard it.
Oh, I avoided that. I didn't want to hear it because
30 seconds, no vocals. And I shouldn't even. I mean, it wasn't enough to form an opinion, but it sounded cool.
That was why I didn't want to hear it. I was like, it's not going to be long enough for me to get any kind of indication of what it's going to sound like. So I'll wait until the first song comes out in a couple of weeks.
If it was long enough, I will tell you this: it reminded me of maybe something off side 2 of like Somewhere in Time. Yeah.
We'll see. I guess
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
George says in his old brain right now. He can't think of what's on side 2.
No, I can. I actually know what side 2 is.
Well, actually, what I was thinking of was loneliness of the long distance runner. So.
Yeah, and Alexander the Great and
all that.
Yeah, all that stuff on side 2, bitch. Eat it. I was just more of a Somewhere in Time's not one of my favorites. So
fair enough.
All right. So Nile released a lyric video for Call to Destruction.
Yeah, I saw it.
And I liked it. I don't know.
I like it.
I bet Jay liked it.
I like it. I like the record in general. you guys, we get, as George says, he gets a lot of promos, and so we've got this, and it's good. It's good. I don't know if you guys are Nile fans.
Yeah, Nile's like one of those bands for me because like I know they're like very talented guys, and I like the music. I just can't get over the vocals.
I've had a problem with the vocals for a long time.
Yeah, I just like they're not. When like with a lot of the death metal that you hear a lot of like gutturals and whatever, and it's just even I just don't really like the vocals that much. But I love the riffs. Like when it first started, that lyric video, I was like, it's gonna be good, and the vocals came in, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I've never got my hooks in with these guys.
So I haven't watched the video, but I'm hoping one of either Jay or Buke has. There was a video with Michael Ackerfeld on the state of the industry. Can you guys tell me any more about that?
Did you watch it, Buke?
I did.
I read an article on it.
Yeah. Interesting point, and I'm glad you brought this up, Jay. Jay, you want to dive into what the article said, and I'll ask these guys about it?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just say a couple of things, but one is that I mean, what I take away from it is going to be different than probably what each and every other person takes away from it. But so basically, one of the things he talked about was how really records will sell, and you sell maybe 15,000 the first week if you're a band as big as them, by the way, and that gets you into the top 10 on Billboard. Which, by the way, George can back me up on this. To get in the top 10, 20 years ago, you had to sell 700,000 albums in the first week.
There was no metal in the top 100, period.
It just wasn't
Ghost
happening.
Reveries debuted like 16 in the Billboard charts, selling 28,000 CDs or something.
And that's great. And that, by the way, it's gotten worse since then.
Or Watershed, one of those two.
But all the things he said that really kind of made me realize the sad state of the scene right now is that they're what you would call, I would say, like a mid-grade band, as far as success is concerned. They're making a living, probably making a pretty good one. But that's even touching them now, you know what I mean? Like they're not making any money off their records. The only hope is to tour, and like Spotify, nobody, you're not going to get a lot as a metal band on Spotify. And he had mentioned something I'd said in the past, which is he doesn't have to, but he splits the publishing. Other guys in the band get some of the publishing, but the overall thing I took away from it is, like, seriously, man, if you're not Mastodon or Opeth, who I realize are not Metallica or Iron Maiden sized, you're not gonna make a living.
So
you're
just give up now, guys.
yeah, basically, yeah.
We've thought about it.
Yeah.
Jay, the thing that I took away from it, the question that was asked to him is, has he thought of what happens? Because since you're not the Metallica or the Maiden who can't ride off of thousands of album sales continually a week off like the Black Album or something like that, what do you do when the time does come when those sales for Opeth just trail off and you can't, sustain yourself?
When you make another piece of shit like the last one.
I like it. But Opeth, they're in a weird position right now. And his answer, I think, was kind of touching on this, is that they find themselves in a position where they have to, I think, hit it so hard to sustain their way of life and for it to be a career, but it doesn't allow them any other time to pick up and do another career. So I think when it comes to it, they're eventually just going to, when it ends, it's, hey, live off that Opeth money and
But you know what? I don't think so. I don't think they'll live off of it. No. Look at Lamb of God. When we were just talking about Randy Bly, and he went to jail. They had to scrape together that $200,000. They didn't have $200,000 sitting in the bank.
They borrowed it from the label.
And they're a big fucking band.
Huge,
so half of these big bands, I would say Mastodon, Lamb of God, Opeth, all strike you as big bands. If they stop now, I guarantee you in less than 3 years, those guys would all have to have day jobs. Hell, fucking Dave Ellefson had a day job when he left Megadeth.
Yeah, but I also think if you're someone like Michael Ackerfeld, like, there's definitely other opportunities for you to pursue music outside of being in, like, Opeth. Like, because, I mean, everything has a shelf life. You have to understand that, like, your band isn't going to be around for that long, relatively. Even Opeth seems like they've been around for a while, but, they're not going to always be around. But I think if you're someone like him, like, you definitely have opportunities to be a studio musician or teach and stuff
Actually,
like
I
that
think-
because you have built a name for yourself doing that.
And I kind of want to correct myself. I'm sorry I interrupted you there, but I just want to say I don't think Michael will have to work. I think he makes more money than the rest of the people in the band, but you just can't sustain a 5-man band.
He could be a producer or do other things.
Well, I think he
Michael
also has
Caine
money.
does.
I think Michael does have money. Yeah, I read when they went to Ghost Reveries when that record came out. I remember reading an interview with him where he said he was a millionaire on paper. Yeah,
All right.
just because it's a corporation, they have a corporation on everything. But I'm just saying, there's not enough money to sustain it after. There won't be a running business once they stop performing.
And when we were talking earlier, I asked you guys this. Again, reading something like this doesn't turn you off at all?
Not really, especially because like money situations are different for everybody. Like, I was reading something the other day where the dude from Periphery, Misha, was talking about how he doesn't take any money home from the tours. But like that's also because on their tours they take 6 extra people with them just to do tech on stuff that like. I mean, I'm not going to say it's unnecessary because obviously that's their choice whether they want to have these people doing setup for like different things. But like I think it's important to consider where all the money's going. And I mean, obviously he's sustaining himself still. Like he's making money off endorsements and teaching and other things that he has going on and definitely like producing and stuff. So I think as far as like funds from being in a band, you have to, I don't know, everybody's situation is totally different.
Yeah. As guys who are going to school for, jazz music, right? Jazz?
Yeah.
You guys, again, just getting off your first tour, how are you guys learning the business aspect, the financial aspect of all of this, the promotions? Is it just
Learning,
pick it up as you go along?
little
Have
of
you
both,
talked to any former bands? Or
the guy who booked our tour has been on like 13 tours or something. So
the past 2 years.
he gave us a lot of advice.
Because I see, I wanted to ask you guys this because it took me a long time, and I was in financial problems for many years, trying to even manage myself. Now, how have you guys, and are you guys starting to learn how to get into managing finances for the band and cuts that people are going to take and covering expenses and stuff?
We made out pretty well on the tour, actually. Like between what we get, like most of the venues came through and paid us like what they told us they would pay us, which was nice. Like the only times that they didn't were like if there really wasn't the money there, and even then they try to do us something. Like this one club gave us like a case of PBR, which is like
Illegal.
I appreciate the sentiment. Well, they gave it to the sound guy who
we were
just happened to be
staying
staying with. Yeah, I mean we did all right.
So you guys were starting to learn the background as you
Yeah.
go along and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So
we're-
trial and error. Right?
Yeah, we're already working out like how we're gonna split up funds, if we're gonna have like a physical band fund or like an account or whatever, so
Plus, it's like, I mean, obviously being like financial stuff is different, like totally different on every level. Because like on our level, we're not going through anybody. We get our money and that's our money.
Yeah.
But then we're not getting like as much of it as a band who's splitting costs with a record label.
right. And like we
So,
have the
it's just different.
we have the physical cash that we made on tour, and then we have stuff going into a PayPal account from the Bandcamp. So then we have to find a way to like get that together and split that up or keep it somewhere.
Now, with the band camps and stuff, there's the bands we've talked to who love the control that they have of their product. They realize, hey, record labels, we don't need you. Or frankly, maybe we don't want you. Have you guys thought or talked about as a band if, let's say, a Relapse or somebody approached you guys a couple years down the line?
The one we
Would you
were
guys
thinking-
entertain offers?
It,
one
it,
we were
it just
thinking
totally
of-
depends on the
like
deal.
Yeah.
the one that we talk about the most is the Unique Leader, but
Because they have a lot of our favorite bands.
so like we would always have to see like what the deal is. It's not just like you're a big name, we like your bands, we're going to sign on to you. Like we have to see what the deal is, because just because you're a band doesn't mean you have to get signed, and just because you get signed doesn't mean you made it big. So
Yeah, because the thing about I use Jay and his band as an example to you guys. Jay, please do not take this the wrong way. I mean this with the most respect. Jay's band is. This is going to sound fucking awful to say, but
Don't say it then.
no. Jay's band's in
that's fine, dude.
their golden years. You know what I'm trying to say, Jay?
Yeah, dude. We'll be lucky to make three records.
These guys are, just learning to crawl to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world.
You're absolutely right, dude.
The world's there.
Yep. And I think a label is a lot less likely to be interested in us for a lot of reasons, but one of them is kind of our age. I mean, and also it's just everything is risky for labels now, and it is.
Yeah.
But I have only really embraced that in the last year to 2 years, where I'm just sort of like, I mean, like if it's me and George, like if George and I had a band, we've been programmed since we were young that's just part of the process,
right? And
that there's some variety of successes to just sign that contract, and that's almost meaningless now unless you're on a label like Nuclear Assault or Nuclear Blast or something, who's really kind of got money. You know what I mean? And so while you will get a distribution thing going and your record will get reviewed more, these days it almost doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so what we did is we just made up a label and we called it End Times Records, which there's no physical anything to it. We just did it because we thought it might help the record get reviewed if it had a label on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you guys are free to use that, by the way. We'd love to have you.
All right. So this next news item I thought was pretty cool. There was something in the news about an alternate juror in Colorado at the sentencing for the movie theater shooter James Holmes. One of the alternate jurors was wearing a Ride the Lightning shirt, which I guess kind of gives you a little bit of his opinion on what he wants to happen to this guy. Apparently,
have you guys seen the shirt George is talking about, though?
Yeah. It's got the electric chair on there.
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to wear anything that indicates any sort of political opinion on the matter. But he was an alternate juror, so I don't think he got in trouble for it. But still, pretty cool.
What are you talking about? No, I just really love this band.
I love Metallica, man.
I didn't even consider this.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would do. But anyway, to that guy that wore that shirt, that's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, shout out to that guy.
Yep.
So the band Anvil is trying to get another new album made.
These guys don't stop.
No, I like Anvil. I don't know about anybody else, but I like them. And they've put up a crowdfunding campaign on Pledge Music to help fund the new album. I thought they had some pretty cool stuff, and I actually put in a decent chunk of money.
You're boring these kids, George.
What album number is this for them?
I think their last one was called 13, so I'm guessing this is 14.
Yeah.
No. There's actually been 2 since then, George. So I think this is 16.
There's some bands let me preface this with there's never too much music. As long as you can keep making music, and even if you're just doing it for yourself, just keep doing it.
Hell yeah.
But there's a certain point where you have to stop expecting people to care. Some of these bands that have 8, 9, 10, 11 albums, nobody cared probably after the 5th, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is such. It is so interesting to hear you say that, dude. And I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I think, just like I think we, a lot of younger people are more into singles, and I don't know that that's you guys. I'm just saying that's a lot of people. Metalheads are a little different, but it's interesting to hear that today's sort of younger people sort of think anything past 4 albums is kind of dragging on.
It's also because we're younger. If we want to get into these older bands, there's already 9 albums. Where the fuck do we start?
Yeah,
I don't know what to listen to. This band is recommended to me, but now I have to just sift through 100 plus songs. Think
if today you get into Slayer.
Right.
Where do you start?
I did that. I did that.
Rain of Blood's the last one you listen to.
Yeah, it is a lot of people listen to their the most recent album, and it's that's probably not their best.
No.
It could be the third or the fourth, but that's right in the middle. So how are you just gonna randomly pick the best one if you don't know anything about them?
I usually I go for the third album.
Yeah.
Just because I'm the first album may be good, but it's also probably going to be young and raw, and Kill 'Em All was a good album, but it's nothing like Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
So I always sort of jump for the second or third album.
I was going to say something about that too that I kind of meant to mention earlier, which was when you were talking about having gotten into Maiden, and then you kind of did Metallica, and then Slayer. That was the way you kind of got progressive metal. And George said that was the way we all got into it too. But I was going to kind of point out, in no insulting fashion that George and I went through that real time. You know what I mean? Like when we edited Maiden, there was no Metallica when Maiden was around.
Yeah.
So, but it's so interesting that your progression went that way. But yeah, it's interesting to hear you guys
good,
talk
healthy
about
progression.
that.
I think it's kind of the natural way for like people who are getting into like metal and stuff.
Well,
he's probably the only member of our band that didn't get into it that way.
Yeah.
Like I know Sanjay, our other guitar player, did the same thing, and so did our drummer. Like, because that's how it progressed. And I feel like if you listen,
Brandon didn't really do it that much though.
no,
He listened to like a lot of Metallica, but then he went like right to like the deathcore.
All right, well, whatever.
I mean, I can't fathom going straight to like grindcore. You know,
Right? Yeah.
It's just
no
like
way. No way.
I would never hear
because it took years for me to progress to each next level. I mean, you know, I started with thrash in the '80s when the first Death album came out, like the band Death, Script
Yeah.
Bloody Gore, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I liked the music, but I didn't get that. It was like, what is with these
Yeah, like
vocals?
when you realize Origin came out in like the 80s, and you're like, this is really fast technical death metal. It's coming out in like 1988. And you're like, that was like when these like thrash metal bands were like starting to not die off, but like the scene was changing. You know? And like that's just such a quick transfer to like to go from like Slayer to like Origin. It's just a totally different feel.
Oh yeah, I had to very slowly progress through the different levels of from thrash to death to black to everything beyond that. But now I'm like, you know, it can't get weird enough for me. So before we move on, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Anvil. I recommend anybody go out there and, you know, support this band. A lot of the Kickstarter type campaigns have got some pretty lame what do they call them? Perks or whatever. You know, it's like, oh, well, for $10 you get, you know, a digital download. For $15,
these guys used to give them $30 to get to kiss them.
I would do that.
Well,
That seems like a decent incentive.
There's one of our, as a side note on that, one of our friends' bands, they have a Kickstarter for like a new van, and said, if you give us $2,000 to just buy the van right away, this member of our band will get your name tattooed on his butt, and we'll send you all the other perks in addition.
That was Butcher of Rostov, right?
Wow.
I think it was either them or Burning for Everyone.
All right, well, it's either Butcher of Rostov or Burning for Everyone. Go look them up, and
So if you want
I
your
think it
name
was Brett.
immortalized on a man's ass, you support a band.
go buy them a van. And he's a Brett. I think
Yeah, it's Brett.
Yeah,
Definitely,
okay,
it's
so
definitely Brett. It
it's
would not be
Burning for
anybody else.
Everyone
in the
then.
band.
Yeah, so
yeah, you got to have
get your name tattooed on his ass because he's a nice guy. And if I could afford to, I would.
you got to have cool incentives like that. And Anvil had some that I thought were pretty cool. And the one I got was you can get a handwritten lyric sheet. They will write out the lyrics to any song in their catalog and sign it.
That's
Cool.
nice.
And so I got metal on metal because, you know, what the fuck.
Yeah.
So
Good. It was smart to not choose an instrumental too. Nice work, George. You know, I wanted to ask you how well is it doing? Did you see how close they were to their target?
they had like 50 days to go and they were at 25%. So it was doing all right. I hope they make it because I want that fucking thing. I'm going to put that on the wall in here.
If anybody ever asked me to send them a lyric sheet of like an instrumental song, I would just send them a blank piece of paper and sign it at the bottom.
Absolutely.
I would send them notation. I'd like
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they had that, and there was you could get a signed set list, and I mean, you know, there was one that like you could go do a private art viewing with the drummer because he's an artist, and like there's another one that like go to dinner with them and stuff. So you know,
That's cool.
don't be boring in your Kickstarters is what
No.
I'm saying here. So
Yeah. I think
I'll
the
kiss
four
your
of
ass
us-
if you give us $100.
I think the four of us can come up with some pretty interesting
I
stuff.
love these the fucking fire in these guys.
yeah. All right. Last news item. I don't know if anybody else has heard anything more on this. I got an email yesterday from King Diamond's promoter saying that there's going to be major news announced on August 3rd, which is 2 days from now. And so I started speculating. I saw something online that said one of the news agencies was speculating that they were going to play the entire Abigail album. I was hoping that the news was going to be a new album, but
They're already talking about. I've seen too much about the new record to know it doesn't exist. So there you go. They haven't even written it yet.
Fuckers.
But I think the Abigail thing is probably the deal, which I'll go to, by the way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And which, by the way, they're on the Mayhem Fest or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's
it is.
not
And it looks like it's
major
been pretty
news.
cool.
Major news is a new album.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Before, all right, could I inject my own little news?
Please.
Sure.
All right,
Please.
did you guys see that Fall of Troy is doing a tour? Like they're doing this tour and they're playing all of like Doppelganger, which I thought was their coolest
Wow.
album.
Wow.
Did not hear that.
I did not hear
That's
that.
it. I'm really excited for it.
Who they on tour with?
I'm not sure. I'd have to check
Yeah.
it, but yeah.
Cool.
Look it up.
If
Nice.
anybody hasn't heard of the Fall of Troy, you should listen to them and then go to the show.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
have
let's
heard
go.
of them.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that. This is one of the first bands to bring content in.
Yeah, way to go. Good job.
Good job.
Way to participate. Get gold stars and brownie points out at the end. All right.
Actual brownies.
No, I wish.
No. If we did, believe us,
I'd have eaten them already.
they would have been gone by the time you guys got here.
I haven't had like an actual brownie in so long.
Last day of tour.
An actual brownie? What have you been? That's good. I like that. I haven't had an actual brownie.
What kind of brownie have you had?
No, those fake plastic ones look the plastic. ones.
Delicious. Well played.
Moving on to new releases. All right. Well, first new release is Cataclysm of Ghosts and Gods. I know Buke digs these guys.
Yeah.
Any comments?
I've liked these
also
guys.
like them.
Yeah, I've liked these guys the past couple of years. I like their later sound. George likes their earlier sound.
Mm-hmm.
I like this album where I've listened to it.
Yeah. I haven't listened to it
It
yet.
carries on the modern Cataclysm sound that they have now.
Cool.
I skipped through it. I mean, not in a bad way. I just didn't. I haven't had time to sit down and listen to it, but I listened to some samples. This sounds fine.
So fuck this next one.
Yes, that's fine. It's okay. It's okay. No opinion.
So fuck this next one. This is Teenage Time Killers and their first album called Greatest Hits Volume 1. First off, what fucking douchebags named their first album Greatest Hits? Fuck you. Second,
I think it's genius.
It is kind of funny.
That is
kind of funny.
Yeah,
But
ex-
you're here talking about them, right?
except that it's only been done like 100 times.
Oh,
It has been done. Yeah.
So, and then it's a super group full of people that I like in their individual bands, but everything I've heard has sucked really hard. So,
Who is it?
well, Dave Grohl, who can fuck off. Because of what they did at their stupid ass 20th anniversary show on July 4th.
I was there for that. I was
fucking
actually
sucked.
at that show.
I
what
left.
did you? Where were you sitting?
I was
Were you on the field?
no, I was on the field.
Because I was like to the right on the lower level.
Yeah, that's where I was.
We left before, like after Joan Jett during that lightning break.
Why?
Because the sound was fucking horrible. It sounded like you were outside. It was like rumble, rumble, rumble. Occasionally you might hear somebody say something. I walked all the way around the stadium on the lower level.
This sound got a lot better when the Foo Fighters actually
Yes.
played.
Tell me it sounded studio quality at the end of the night.
It was actually really it sounded really good from where I was sitting. I was sitting like under the deck, like the deck above me, like in the back. And it sounded great.
Nah.
But like I know exactly what you're talking about. I could not hear anybody speak up until they played.
That
Yeah.
show was on a Saturday, I think, right?
It was the 4th of July.
4th of July.
yeah, it
Saturday.
was. They started setting that show up Tuesday because of how big the
Yeah.
setup
Well,
was.
maybe
And
they
these are
should have fucking done a sound check or something.
these
It
are
was
like
horrible.
big crowds. I think the crew for that was like 60, 70 people
Wow.
working for 4 days to set it up.
You know, like
So the fact that the sound still sucks.
like Foo Fighters.
George went on a
Visual.
scathing rant. And George,
Well,
I'm telling you,
because
George,
I spent like $250 to leave early. But the thing that infuriates me the most is they let my wife down. My wife doesn't go to that many shows. She was really excited about this, and she was the one that was like, I can't take this anymore. Let's leave. And I'm like, you mess with my wife, I'm gonna fucking go for the throat. Fuck you.
Did Dave Grohl?
It's Dave Grohl's fucking fault. It's his fucking show.
I don't know if you can blame
Audibly.
Dave Grohl for shitty sound quality though, because he's not actually back there working the sound.
No,
Blame
but
Dave Grohl for
you know,
anything if you try hard enough.
well, I'm not literally blaming him.
Yeah.
I'm using him as a scapegoat. I understand, but technically, it's his show. If they've been setting up all fucking week, he should have heard how
Yeah.
bad it sounds by this point, you know, and done something about it because he's, if nobody else, he can do something about it.
Yeah.
And he obviously didn't give a shit.
I don't know. You also have to look at like there's not the stadium filled, you know.
They needed to put like speakers, you know,
Yeah.
in places that there were not speakers.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it was just a giant echo bowl.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear shit.
But
So
it got better.
But like I said, when the Foo Fighters actually came on, it was like flawless. I could hear everything.
yeah, fuckers.
Of course it was.
Yeah. Well, anyway, fuck the Teenage Time Killers. You know, I think Randy Bly actually sings on the song, and Pepper Keenan, and it's like a whole bunch of like punk and metal guys, and like a lot of the
Yeah.
NOLA scene people. Yeah. So
Sounds like it'd be dumb anyway.
fucking Corey Taylor, I think, sings on one. But yeah,
I like the Foo Fighters. They used to be one of my favorite bands.
I liked the Foo Fighters, but
All right, you guys should just fight.
Yep.
yeah,
A Foo fight. Have a Foo fight.
have a Foo fight. Exactly. I'll get over it, but the wound is still a little fresh. This next album is one that I mentioned on our last episode. I can't fucking pronounce the band's name. Zatokrev. No, they're from like Switzerland, I think. And the album's called Silk Spiders Underwater. It's like a sludge metal kind of thing, and I picked it up off Bandcamp. It's pretty cool. Should check it out.
Sludge.
Stoked.
I've never listened to like a full length sludge metal album.
You should.
Well, you're missing out.
Sludge.
Yep.
I forgot that was even a genre.
It's like doom metal when you get too stoned. Yeah. It's sludge.
Right.
Next up, we've got the new cattle decapitation.
So excited.
The Anthropocene Extinction.
That's gonna be fucking insane.
Have you guys heard the single off that?
Yeah. We've got-
At first, I was like, I don't know if this was cool.
No, this is gonna be
But
good.
I listened to it a
So
couple
good.
times, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. I'm so excited. I'm seeing them on
It's gonna be
Tuesday. I
good.
have to go.
Yeah, we're going up to Reading, Pennsylvania to see them with Beyond Creation.
For a band that plays this genre of music for you guys, and so many bands out there of all genres, but for a band that plays, now again, this genre, cow decapitation being one of them, what for you guys separates the good from the bad? What are you guys hearing that my ears don't hear? That when you hear it, you're like, oh, this is shit, or this is good.
You want to go first?
Yeah, please.
For cow decapitation,
Or for Cal and any band.
Yeah.
well, because like if you listen to a lot of cow decapitation's early stuff, it's like real fucking like
Like
grindcore,
30-second, 10-second songs.
yeah, like there's a 3-second song on one of their.
That's
they're
literally
split with
just
K9S, and
a
it's called
scream.
It's called the recapitation of cattle, and it just goes. That's the whole song. But like the way that they've developed that over time into like a cohesive like you have like full albums now that really feel like albums.
And the vocals are
and
so
they're
unique.
written well, and like the vocals are great, but it still has like that like old school grindy kind of sound. It doesn't just sound like a death metal band that's trying to be like extra heavy or something. And that's what I really
Like,
appreciate
for
about
me.
them.
For me, honestly, it's a lot about the drums and the vocals. Like, not even about the riffs.
Everything else is kind of filling out space.
Because like, if the drum beat, take any song. Like, if you guys listen to Gorod at all? Yeah. So like, like the Perfect Absolution, they have a lot of like Caribbean parts and stuff like that. You could take a heavy riff and then play one of those drum parts behind it, just like they do, and it completely changes the sound. It's about the drum beat and the vocals. Like I was saying with Niall earlier, Niall sounds fucking great, and then their vocals come in. So one thing that Cattle Decap does with their vocals is just so unique. He like scream sings, and it's impressive. He's hitting notes, and they're really high notes, and it sounds good. And like their drums are killer, and just the riffs are like in your face. And the bass tone is just clanky as hell. It's amazing. That's just a side note. But yeah.
I noticed, like, I think it was on the last album, they added, like, another vocal style.
Yeah.
That was, I don't want to say cleaner,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
yeah,
it's like
it's
the
like
screaming,
pitch,
the
it's pitch
screaming, singing.
and it's
you know.
really
Yeah, and I really kind of dug that.
Yeah, it sounds great.
But it reminded me of something, and I couldn't think of what it was, and it finally dawned on me a couple days ago when I was listening to it, and I'm guessing Jay's probably going to be the only one that might know what I'm talking about here. It kind of reminded me of David Wayne from Metal Church on the first like 2 Metal Church albums, when he would just get really kind of in some of his singing, and I was like, I don't know, he's just got this similar tone to it, obviously a little bit more extreme.
No, I think that's a good call, George.
I think that was why I was like, ooh, I really like this. It's because I'm a really big David Wayne fan, rest in peace. And yeah, anyway.
Yes, like the original question, what makes it good or bad? Like for me, it would be the drums and the vocals. Like he said, the guitar riffs and the bass is filling space. You know.
yeah, it's doing its own thing.
Hey, George, I thought we had a promo for that cattle decapitation.
We do. I put it in the box.
Oh, we do. It's in the box? Okay.
Well, it's not
maybe
anymore. I
downloaded
deleted
it.
everything in the box. If you need it, let me know.
Wait, what's the promo?
I
For
will.
cattle decapitation. Like,
You got it.
it's basically in advance of the album.
No, I wanted the promo that came with like the.
No, they have like the album though.
Yeah,
Wait.
I get like the whole album like a month or two ahead of
You already
release.
have it.
Yeah.
Can I listen to it?
Yeah.
Seriously, can I please? I would lose my fucking mind if we could listen to that.
What? The cattle?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's just, see, guys, we could be fucking Russian torrent guys for all you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been getting.
Well, I've already looked on the Russian torrent website.
You really?
I mean, I'm gonna buy the
Name of a
album
track
when
that
it
they've
comes
never
out,
fucking
but I really wanted to hear it. Wow,
Yeah, that's the one
That's
that they
the-
released.
yeah, that's
Oh,
the
is it?
single it's out.
Look at his eyes. See, he doesn't care about the fucking podcast now.
This is like
He
my.
doesn't care about us. He heard
Yeah,
that.
this is why I started doing this originally, was to get free music, and now I get it all a month or two, sometimes 3 months ahead of release date.
That's like their old stuff.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Tuesday night, man.
I wanted
Well,
that
remember,
big
albums come out
bundle.
Friday now.
Yeah, it's out now, isn't it?
That should be.
I thought it was out now.
We
Yeah,
gotta
it's
bump
out
that.
now?
We gotta bump that all day because I gotta know all the songs by the time they play them. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'll just be sad.
Do you guys do Spotify and stuff?
Yeah, I'm on there.
Let's just check for you, gentlemen.
I love this. I love all this stuff.
All right.
No, it's out on Spotify. Yep.
All right.
All right, should we get back to
Yep. We've got 2 more new
Now
releases.
they're going to talk. Now that they fucking. You see, Jay, everything.
Just interrupt me, motherfucker.
The 2 hours and 17 minutes that we've been recording doesn't mean anything. It's all out the window now that they just heard that fucking.
The cattle decapitation.
Yeah,
They're like,
that's
I'm
what
so
they are.
glad
That's
we
it,
came
we're
here
done.
today.
Yep, they
We've
don't
had
care
them.
about us. Look at him. Like he's fucking still high. Like he just had sex with like 6 girls. He's like, oh.
What a
like,
day.
I'm
right.
sorry, they're like the main. Like I wouldn't say they're my favorite band, but I definitely listen to them more than any other band right now.
Your eyes did light up quite a bit. You're like,
Yeah,
it was like Christmas morning over there.
It's better than Christmas.
All right. Well, we've got 2 more
He is glowing.
new releases. Yes. That could have been something else. Anyway, 2 more new releases to get into. The new Fear Factory, Genexus, which I have, but I haven't listened to it yet because I haven't really listened to much Fear Factory in the last decade.
Yeah.
I've never really sat down and listened to Fear Factory.
But I'm guessing I can probably figure out what it sounds like. Yeah. And then this last one, I don't know if I've ever said this guy's name out loud. Christian? Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm.
Works for me.
Forged in Fury. Got the promo for that. That was a pretty good album. Did you listen to that?
That's a good name, actually. That's very.
Yeah, I did listen to it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. It's,
I mean, I agree with you. It didn't change my life. It was cool.
no, yeah, it was good.
South American brutal death metal.
Yeah.
These guys are fucking monsters on stage.
Yeah, I
too.
saw them with.
Deicide
Was it Deicide?
Yep.
Okay.
and
man.
cattle decapitation.
Wait, have you guys done a bit on Deicide totally ruining the Metal Alliance tour yet?
No.
Oh, good. That's
yeah.
something we can talk about at the
That
end.
was now that did come up a couple months ago. Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys want to tell them what happened? That was news that happened, but I don't think we really
actually-
touched on it.
Okay, so basically, well, I'll tell you something from like behind the scenes aspect. Deicide, their minimum pay for that tour was $4,000 a show, which is a lot. So like they were selling the contract for that show. Like people offered them like $7,000 and they didn't take it. Mm-hmm. And then eventually Deicide were just dicks to everybody. And then so essentially the whole thing was over, and Black Crown Initiate played one headlining show, and then there was this one poor band from, I think, France that was just kind of like, what the fuck? I came here, I thought I was going to play with Deicide, and now we're on our own, this weird country.
I can't see Black Crown Initiate as headliners.
No.
We saw them.
We found out all of this on tour from firsthand.
I don't know, yeah.
You guys
probably shouldn't name names, but...
You guys like Black Crown?
I like Black Crown.
I like George and I like them a lot. They both made our end of year list last year.
It's funny because their album sounded so amazing, and then they played live, and they weren't bad, but they were underwhelming in terms of stage presence.
Yeah,
you know how a lot of bands when they start out they are like statues on stage, and they don't seem like they're comfortable yet. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how they were. They sounded great. But
sounded great.
I'm sure they'll get there.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get there too.
The only thing I'm bummed about playing a Louisville Death Fest is that we're actually going to have a big stage, because every single show we've ever had, I've jumped off at some point. So I'm not going to be able to do that this time.
Do you want to Dave Grohl it?
Do you let the hair down?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only forgotten once, and I took it off like halfway through the second set. But yeah, the hair's got to come down. I mean,
I was going to say, you can't keep it in
it's part of the show.
No way.
All right. It's not even heavy. You got to wear all black on stage too if you really want to be cool.
Yeah. All right, so here we are at that time of the show where we do our top three.
Top three.
This time, Jay decided to pick the top three album opening tracks, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But also, it turns out for me, impossible. Because, I mean, this is sort of like saying, this was really hard. This was too hard. And all I can say is I really have a top 10. I did only choose 3, but Jesus Christ. There's so much harder than I thought it was
one that immediately comes to mind when you say that.
Yeah,
everything
same.
else I have to, like, think about.
I know we thought of
the
same one when... Yeah.
You guys want a second to formulate your list?
Yeah, you guys.
Alpha Incipient,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's it.
Fallujah's,
Alpha Incipient on Harvest Moon's this album right here.
That's like it's like real ambient in the beginning, but like still aggressive, and then like this one like really tight riff kicks in, and you're like shit.
You just know the album is gonna be great because that song is incredible. And that's like a lot of people's like one of their favorite songs off the album is that opening song. It's just it's a good song that can stand on its own, and just the opening to the album is ridiculous.
What we usually do is we'll go around, and everybody will do like their 3 and their 2 and their 1.
Yeah.
So
think of your guys number 2 or 1.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay. And
You can do
so
it separately. You can do it. Or
my phone is dead, so like give me yours.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, you can look with me.
all right, so we'll
No, I'm not giving you my phone. You can look with me.
all right, we'll move to
figure this
Jay
out.
now and let Jay do one.
Okay, well, this was too hard, and I decided everything I chose I would call older. I didn't end up doing anything terribly new.
I did older too, and Buke said he did newer stuff just because he wanted to do the opposite of us.
Yeah, well, I did that too because it's a lot of these like precedents were set back then. You know what I mean? So this one I think people think is a little bit weird. I know you and Buke will like it, but I don't know if you would have chosen it. But I chose Burn from Deep Purple.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, that song is fucking awesome.
Love that. The keyboards on that song alone are amazing.
And it's just a great opening riff. It takes off like a shot. And it was their comeback after, Ian Gillan left. And it's just like in the first 30 seconds, you're like, this is going to be just fine. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, Burn.
All right, Buke, number 3.
Come out. The band has been the same since this album came out. Off of Hate Crew Death Roll, Needle 24/7.
That is a good one.
That's
Sets
good.
the fucking
That's a good
precedent
choice,
for
too.
the whole album.
That is good.
Oh my!
But you're not into it. You still. What about the new one? You guys don't.
No, it's great. It's good. I'm just saying that ever since that album, they've been up in the air for me.
Yeah,
fair enough. I agree. That's a good choice.
I've got a number 4, an honorable mention, because I just had to put it in there. My honorable mention is Metallica with Battery.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because when that came
Yeah,
out,
that's a good one.
I bought that like as soon as Master of Puppets came out, and it was one of those like life defining moments. My mom's
Yeah.
driving me back from the mall. I'm sitting in the passenger seat with my freaking big ass padded '80s headphones on, and I pop in the cassette of Master of Puppets, and you get that bring da bring, that clean acoustic intro, and then it just fucking rips your face off.
Yeah.
With like nothing you'd ever heard before in 1986.
That was a really ripping song.
Yeah.
It's funny you did. I actually did one honorable mention too. I hated this band the whole entire time. They already had 4 albums out by the time I really dove in to listen to them. The first time I heard Mastodon and Leviathan, Blood and Thunder,
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good.
set me out. I got hooked on them after hearing that first track.
Right on. So my actual number 3 is Iron Maiden, Aces High. And if you want to be really particular, Aces High with the Churchill intro off of Live After Death. Because it's just a fucking killer intro song. And the Churchill speech always gives me goosebumps. And
Awesome.
Yeah.
Classic. Can't
Yep.
go wrong with that, dude.
all right, what do you guys have for number 2? You can have
So we're on 3,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
3.
weren't we?
Well,
Yeah, we're on 3.
We have
think we-
Well, you already,
Okay.
you did the
I already
Fallujah.
said
We didn't
one.
know
Oh,
if
yeah.
that was your
Yeah,
3.
that was one.
Okay.
That was one.
Fallujah's definitely one. I'm sorry.
Alpha and Sibian was 1.
I got really excited about it. But yeah, 3 for me is probably I Just Got This Symphony Going by Fall of Troy off Doppelganger, because
Okay.
I thought that was
Yep.
like their coolest album, and like it just came like right at you from the start with like a really cool riff, and it was
Okay.
groovy.
Sweet.
Cool.
My 3 would be Lucid Collective from Lucid Collective on Artspire.
Right on.
I think it's great. I also have an honorable mention, which
Okay.
I think is actually one of his. I think is your second, an Autopsy.
Yeah, thanks for
the
taking that
Faceless.
from me.
Oh,
It's just such a.
That was a great opening
It's just
song.
so good.
Especially
It's so good.
the reason I was gonna put that above the Fall of Troy one is because it was their first album.
Yeah,
like
that's
it was
like
their
the first thing
album,
you ever hear from the Faceless on a record ever,
and it was
and it just
fucking
hits
crazy.
you so
when
hard.
did their most recent album come out?
2012. I think.
Yeah.
12 or 13.
Yeah.
Let me check. I think it's 2012. Yeah, 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay, number 2?
number 2, another band that went through a vocalist change and came out punching. Neon Nights Off Heaven and Hell.
Nice.
Yeah.
Unusual. Not unusual, I mean, because it's a great song. It's deep. Like
Yeah,
I would have
yeah.
totally, even the Deep Purple, I'm like, you're definitely not wrong.
Yeah, I'm not
just-
really going for the like obvious ones here. To be
I'm
honest
going
with
for the completely obvious one, so fuck you. Puke, number 2.
People don't say, Buke, you don't have Opeth in your top 3 lists. Well, they're not making this list either because I think their lists are a slow burn, Cause
Yeah.
But that was just in case, John's thinking, Buke, is Opeth coming? No, they're not coming, John. I'm sorry. Off of Clayman from In Flames, Bullet Ride.
Wow.
That was a good one, too.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah. All right. My number 2, Slayer, Angel of Death.
Yeah, okay. I saw that coming.
Yeah.
Not for but
How
I
can
thought
that
that's
not
gonna
be
have to
number
up
1
there.
on your list?
That was my favorite song for like 2 years.
It actually started off as number 1, but it moved down when I found my number 2, and I was like, wait, this can't be number 2. Fuck. So I switched.
Imagine hearing that song back in George's younger years. Hearing that
I
for
know
the
what
first
George
time.
is.
Like,
That was
what
nuts.
the fuck is this?
Especially that little like bass break where it's just the kick drums.
Yeah.
I never heard anybody play kick drum like that before. I was like, this is crazy.
Yep. Yeah, that was something. All right. Well, what do you guys got a 2 now then?
He spoiled my 2.
the Faceless.
Obviously by the Faceless.
Yep, the
All right.
Faceless one. He spoiled
Yeah.
it.
It's just
Ruiner.
So my number 2, I was thinking about like the older stuff that I used to listen to, a lot of the grunge and the rock and roll. And there's this one metal song by the Faceless that is actually really grungy, and I love it. It's the opening to Autotheism, the Create. It's metal, but the whole song overall is just so grungy, and it's a good set for the opening of the album. And at the same time, for me personally, it lets me still, like, of course I still listen to the older stuff that I used to listen to, but when I'm listening to a lot of metal currently now and a song comes on, it's like it really sends me back to like my roots, you know, where I used to when I first started bass and I had it in drop C down by my knees, and I was like playing along to like Nirvana songs or whatever, you know. It's just such a good song.
Right on.
Not to get sidetracked, but you guys ever have like a band that you really like, and then you first hear a new album and you fucking hate it?
Yeah.
But then after like a couple months, it grows on you.
Just
that was
just
monotheism for me.
Just about every band I've ever liked, I'm always overly critical when I first hear the album. I'm like, nah, fuck this. But then I'll listen to it more and I'll be like, all right. So, in fact, like after Rain and Blood came out, when South of Heaven came out, I was like, what the fuck is this?
That's a cool album.
It is now, but going from Rain and Blood, which was all super fast, to then South of Heaven, where they really slowed down, at least for the first song.
Yeah.
It was just like...
It's definitely different. But, like, I don't know. I feel like that album was, like, a different side of Slayer that...
It was. And I read that they were basically saying that, where were you going to go faster and harder from Rain and Blood? Yeah. So they're like, everybody's going to expect that. We're going to go the other way. And so I'm like, now I fucking love the album. But at the time, it was a bit of a disappointment.
Slayer's actually been pretty consistent with most of their albums.
I agree. All right, Jay, number 1.
Like I said, I went all old school. There's no real thrash or anything in mine, or black metal or death metal or anything, which is kind of weird. But, and I already kind of told you guys this one offline, George and Buke. Freewheel Burning off at Defenders of the Faith.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a great song.
That was vinyl hanging on my wall.
Yeah. That was my first Priest song, because my first album was Defenders of the Faith. And Freewheel Burning
is a good place to start.
Just ripped my face off for 1985.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's heavy. Little did I know. But
yeah.
At the time.
That actually back what we were talking to before about like girlfriends and metal music in their car or whatever. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend told me, she's like, all these things that I used to think were heavy, now that I'm just so used to listening to your music, it's like, it's just not heavy anymore.
Nope.
You know what's still heavy to this day, though? Dyer's Eve by Metallica.
I love that song.
Fucking awesome. When it comes in, because, like, our drummer has that album on his, like, a playlist, so it plays pretty frequently, and, like, that song specifically, and every time it comes on, you just get, like, a grim reminder of how fucking heavy Metallica actually was.
Yep.
And that is literally the last song on their last pretty good record, too, so it's like a grim reminder of, like, it's all about to change.
Yep. It's all down. Bob Rock is on the horizon.
Yeah.
Get ready for Lulu.
Yeah, God.
At least they didn't stay speed metal.
I like Death Magnetic. I thought that was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Actually, yeah, that was like...
Nice return.
Yeah. Good save, guys. Good save.
It's funny, though.
After how many years?
I forget the interview, though, but there's one interview where they're like, yeah, we know we sucked. We're never going back to, like, speed metal. It's like,
when
a good eye.
Yeah.
Puke.
Lars talking about regretting the snare on
Saint Anger. I was joking around with him.
Bing! Yeah, what the?
Ping! Yeah. Well, honestly, the snare on Injustice for All is pretty bad, too. It's nowhere near Saint Anger bad. But if you listen to Injustice for All and you zero in on that snare drum, that's all you can hear after that.
We're getting really sidetracked here, but did you guys see the article that
we get sidetracked all the time.
The guy who produced and Justice for All,
Fleming Rasmussen.
Yeah, he wrote an article about how Lars Ulrich is a fucking dick because Lars Ulrich was the one who told him to like drop the bass on the album and turn it like way down. And then like 25 years later, he was like, "Hey man, what happened to the bass on that record?" And he got really fired up and wrote this article, which is really kind of infuriating to read.
We were joking around before we came here because we knew you were going to ask us like our favorite like records, like classic records and whatever. We're like, we should tell them Saint Anger. just see how they react.
Out!
I just thought the live in the studio idea was great. Yeah,
just the snare tone.
You just hear the mic drop and then like feedback, and this episode is over.
It would sound. Yeah, you almost did it to yourself earlier. Pouring water.
All right, Puke number 1.
Okay, this is like my 35th try here.
To impress me?
No, to say this. You want to say it for me?
I'm on a mark.
Oh, no. Amon Amarth.
Look at George like step back. Come on.
Oh, is there another
You
one?
can be a big boy. No, it's it.
That's okay. Amon Amarth.
I'm on a mark.
There you go.
Death and Fire.
Okay.
Off of Versus the World.
Right on.
I love that track, and I think it starts off the album pretty cool.
Excellent.
I thought you were going to choose. I would have predicted you were going to do this first track off the last Primordial record. To be honest with you, Buke.
Yeah. Where Greater Men Have Fallen.
I didn't even fucking think about that, Jay. Fuck
I,
that.
I should be writing your list for you, brother.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like Between the
Jay-
Buried and Me songs.
That would be
because
number one.
You guys know the way Between the Buried and Me like writes out their albums. Like the opening is really always great, but also the first song on the album is never really the opening.
Colors, like how
there's
the first track of Colors
it's like a clean
Yep.
it's like a really clean like beautiful part. But then you feel like the real opener is like the second song, so I
Yeah.
felt like that wasn't fair to say. But like Astral Body off Parallax 2, I felt like that was a great opening song. But
do
it
you
was also the second song.
What do you think of the new album?
I don't
Really?
know. Like I get that like the natural progression for a lot of bands is to like go towards more of like a clean and like progressive sound. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna like it. And like I do listen to a lot of prog, but like for me, Between the Buried and Me will always be like Colors and like the Great Misdirect kind of stuff.
Cool. All right. My number one.
Primordial one's going to burn.
My number one is the number one that started it all. Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath.
That's why I didn't say it, because I
And
knew
I,
you were
just,
going to.
I had just sent you a text telling you that was what it was going to be too, George.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that's the way you went. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean. Yep. Yeah. It is. Yeah. I mean, it's the first heavy metal song on the first heavy metal album. People may argue with that, but you know,
Yeah.
fuck you.
No, I agree. First heavy metal album.
That was heavy.
And
That
yeah,
was
Sabbath,
heavy
first heavy
song.
metal band.
You know, it was just the creepiest fucking song, you know, with the rain and you know, there was just never anything like that. And
That was
it's,
scary.
it's a huge, impactful song. So for an opening track, so
It starts a genre. It's the first song of the genre, so it's the opening track. It is the opening
That's
track.
a cool way to think of that.
We're still closing it out.
Never actually thought of that the first song in the genre.
yep. All right,
That's crazy.
well, that was cool. Moving on, we're going to talk about what each of us have been listening to. Do you guys want to jump in on that?
Well, I've been listening. Okay, for like the past, I think 6 months, I've been listening to like a ton of Cattle Decapitation and like Aborted and like more like death grind kind of stuff. But like the past couple weeks, I've been listening to like happy fusion music.
Okay.
So like Thank You Scientists and like Trioscapes and I don't know, some tribal tech in there and stuff. I don't know. It's just nice, like when you leave your house, you put on some happy jams, and you're jamming out in the car, and it sets a positive aspect for the day. And then on the way home, I can listen to Cattle Decapitation and be like, oh, "Fuck everything."
For me, lately it's been a lot of like Kronos. I was talking about at the very beginning.
right.
They just released a new album last week. I
I'll
think.
be checking that out.
So I've been listening to that a lot. Death metal is always like Beyond Creation and all that stuff. Usually though, like I'll listen to. I'll have like of Monsters and Men. Honestly, come on, that's like my clean singing, clean guitar, or whatever band that I go to like all the time. They're simple tunes, but I love them. Like he was saying about happy tunes.
Right.
Happy to.
They're happy tunes. There's nothing complicated at all about the music. But it's just good. And then of course you have like Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters stuff that I listen to like all the time.
Cool.
So
My happy tunes are kind of complicated, but they're still happy.
Yeah.
So
also since the Monsters and Men just released a new album, I've been listening to that too. So
Cool. Jay, what you been listening to?
All right. Well, one that you guys are not listening to, and I'm not going to rub you about it, but I really like that Vatnet Viskar record. I think it's really good.
Good.
The production doesn't agree with George and Buke.
Not at all.
I have spun quite a few times the new Children of Bottom record. I think that's great. Or Bodom.
Bodom.
Yeah, I think that's a really good record. And then finally, the other thing that I've been listening to. Oh, this band I found on Bandcamp. Oh, it's not pop metal by a long sense, but it's not like a death metal band or anything. But anyway, they're called Rosie Finch. They're from Spain.
I listened to that.
And I like that. The opening track is the best one. They're kind of a stoner doom band, I guess you would call them. And they sing only in Spanish. It's two chicks. And when they kind of do the dual vocal thing, it's pretty super eerie. I like it. I like what they're doing.
Right on.
These guys don't have time for competition on Bandcamp. Did you hear them just...
Oh, yeah. Fuck those guys.
No, I didn't get a lot of sleep.
Buke.
I swear, I'm having a great time.
You see, again, after the cow decapitation, he's back to...
Yeah,
Still
but maybe if I
thinking
start
about
playing some
that.
more, they'll
I'd
perk
be
up again.
lying if I said I wasn't still thinking about it.
Okay,
I kind of forgot, actually.
I saved it because I wanted us to talk about. First off, the Nine Circles guys mentioned them on their podcast last week. I've been listening to a ton of Obscura.
Right.
Hell
Refound.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I listened to them, but it was in a passing listen. I really dove in deep to them in the past week there.
I nearly cried when they couldn't be on Summer Slaughter.
I don't know. Yeah. Obscura, whatever. Alkaloid is where it's at.
That's, oh my god, that record is...
Yeah, that's
But I mean, on the other hand, I feel like that's kind of a...
It's mostly Obscura anyway.
Yeah, it is mostly Obscura, but like... So you expect it to be fucking awesome.
It's great.
I like it better than the last Obscura record.
I do too.
So
Yeah,
It's weird that they're not,
last
like,
Alkaloid album was amazing.
getting
It
out
made
there.
our list too. It made our end of year list last year. Did you guys have a
Yeah,
top
there was-
album from last year?
Last year, shit.
What came out last year?
I don't even
Hey,
remember.
if you guys are
I don't
well,
know.
not trying to put you on the
Lucid
spot.
Collective came out last year. That was,
Was that
pretty cool.
last year or 13?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What came out last year?
But what
stuff.
Yeah, what I've been
Triptychon came out last year, god damn it.
Yeah, like, I'm thinking the stuff that came out in like 2012, 2013,
Yeah.
this
Okay.
year
Hey.
already. You know.
You guys got school. You guys got lives going on, okay? I understand you guys don't have time for music, okay? It's fine.
Do you have any more?
Lucid Collective was last
Was
year.
that last year? Yeah, definitely
do.
last year.
The Lamb of God. I wanted to share my thoughts on it.
All right.
Had a chance to really, it came out last Friday, got the vinyl, really dove into listening to it, gave it a couple listens through, and after Resolution, each of the albums for me, I've enjoyed more and more. But this new one, I know they went out and tried different things on it, but I'm not sold on it yet. Randy, I have no problem with him singing, no problem whatsoever. But they add this weird effect on his vocals, it sounds, when it's not just true. It doesn't sound truly clean.
All right.
Did you hear that a little bit?
On Overlord?
Yeah, some of the on the couple tracks where you sing, it doesn't sound just like clean singing that I'd expect to hear.
No,
It
I
was
mean,
weird to.
it could be he's just not, because he doesn't do clean vocals. He may be using a crutch as people, throw on some too much reverb and things like that when they're not sure of their voice.
Yeah, but with each Lamb of God album in the past, be it Walk With Me.
That's not an album.
No, the songs I'm saying
Okay.
with like Walk With Me or Redneck or
Fucking
with these songs we can keep naming. They catch you right away, and then when you first listen to them, that's why they're nothing on this album, first or second playthrough, got its hooks in me yet.
Yeah, it's funny because it took reading the Randy's book to really like get me into this album, and now I'm like, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not that instant. I want to keep it on repeat and keep hearing it like previous.
Yeah. Another album he just showed me, I can't believe I forgot about, that came out last year, was The Flesh Prevails. From
all he ever
Fallujah.
fucking talks about.
Me?
Kidding.
Enough with the
I was like, I never talk about that. I
just
talk about
figured-
Harvest Wounds a lot
Yeah.
more. Yeah,
I like Harvest Moon's better, but
me
those
too.
are
I do like
There's
Harvest
actually a
Moon's
lot of
better.
good albums that came out last year. It's just when you
Yeah.
start to think about it, you totally forget all of them.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we write them down.
Yep.
Yeah, like when he showed me that, I was like, oh yeah, I remember where I was when I bought that. And then I was like, and I completely forgot it came out last year.
Yeah.
That was a good album.
It's funny. I find myself talking about them a lot here, and they're not even my favorite band. But they've just been coming up a lot for me.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. That's what you guys like.
So what I've been listening to, I've got two of them this week. The first one gets the "What the fuck were you thinking when you named your band" award. It's a band called Trapped Within Burning Machinery. And their new album, The Fifth Element, which turns out is actually based on the movie The Fifth Element.
Wow.
Which...
That's deep.
That's a little unusual, I would think. It's a concept album based around the female blue singer lady that was briefly in the movie. I can't remember the name now. I couldn't pronounce it if I could. But yeah, it's sort of an unusual topic. But I heard this on Bandcamp, and it's pretty fucking cool. It's.
I think it's a great idea, George. By the way, I like that concept. I think, first of all, I love that movie. I think it's a really good movie.
I like the movie, but I wouldn't write an album about it.
Well, no. I was under the impression it was about the opera. It was supposed to be the opera she was singing or something.
Yes.
Okay.
But apparently she sings like really heavy music.
Yeah.
But it's pretty interesting, so, check it out.
Cool.
And the other one that I've been listening to is a black metal band called Devathorn, and their new album, Veritra? I don't know how the fuck to say that.
Is there a question mark on the end of it like that?
No. Vritra. However you say that. I can never do a V and an R next to each other. It doesn't work.
It wasn't good enough for black metal bands to not let's read their names. Now when we can read them, we can't read them anyway. You know what I mean?
Even if I could tell
we
what
can read them, we can't pronounce them.
Yeah.
Durga, Flan. Yeah.
Yeah, like Arstedir Leifsons.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's an Icelandic band. It's got all sorts of like weird things, like not umlauts, but like other things over the letters that I'm like, I don't know what that means. But I just call them Arstedir Leifsons. It's probably not even close. Next
You're digging
up,
that, by the way. Though. You said you were digging that. I mean, I kind of cut you off. That's a good record you were talking about.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's above average black metal.
Okay, cool.
So why don't we move on to our classic albums? Do you guys have any
Classic.
anything
Absolutely.
20 years or older?
Absolutely.
All right. I saw that I had to think of something, and like, I've been thinking about it all week because like, there have been so many cool albums, like that are more than 20 years old. Like most of like the albums that I think now we
Jazz
do is
records.
like really important. But like, I don't know. I guess if we're talking about metal, like I was thinking about Power Slave by Iron Maiden for
Hell
a
yeah.
while, but then like, Power Slave was awesome, but like, I was thinking about like an album that like really like kind of like hit metal in like a different way, and I started thinking about Vulgar Display of Power.
Yeah?
I think that would probably be
That's definitely
My
a classic.
choice.
Definitely a classic. Yep, definitely.
Brandon?
For me,
For a second there, I thought he was gonna. I was afraid he was gonna say Judas Priest Turbo. So I'm really glad that came out.
I like that one.
I was thinking about Saint Anger actually. I wasn't sure if it qualified.
in a whole new direction.
I got a couple of things that immediately come to mind. You got 2112,
Oh, yeah.
Rush. You
Definitely.
got Physical Graffiti from Zeppelin.
Also, my
You know,
favorite.
like, there's some of my favorite. Farewell to Kings, definitely. Some of my favorite classic rock, progressive rock albums, like, ever. I could listen to those bands, like, all day long.
Hell yeah, me
You
too.
know, it's just great stuff.
Excellent.
Good calls.
Jay.
I chose kind of a weird one. These guys had like they were kind of. I used to just buy anything that was on Megaforce Records or Combat Records,
Me
and
too.
this would have been the '80s for you young fellas. And anyway, there was a band that I kind of liked. Okay, and then they came out with this record that I really liked. Long story short, they're reuniting. They have reunited. They're at Death Fest this year. So Exciter, Long Live the Loud was
I
a record
love
I
that
really
album.
dug. The summer it came out. I listened to it a bunch of times, and
Yeah, me
so,
too.
and I'm looking forward to their set because I'm assuming they're just going to do stuff from those days. So cool.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. I've got Long Live the Loud on vinyl.
Do you? I had it on vinyl as a child.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Buke.
We're seeing them next week, or was it 2 weeks? I don't know. I'm losing track.
It's like
of
2
time.
weeks, I think.
Straight after Barbecue, Down, their NOLA album, the
Right
first
on.
album
Is
from
that-
this. Came out in '95 or '96, whatever it is.
Now, this is one of Buke's Holy Grail vinyl albums that he's always wanted it on vinyl. And I've got it on my list that I want too. But obviously, it's a much bigger album for Buke. And I wanted to ask you because, it rarely comes up that you can find a copy of Nola on vinyl. And when you do, it's always like 175 euros.
Yeah.
Which is, that's at least $200. How pissed would you be if I broke down and bought Nola for myself at that price? Because I'd be like, I can offer it to you, but you're not gonna buy it at that price. So would you hold it against me if I did?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always known.
And that's why I haven't bought it yet.
No, because we have experience with this. George Bloodbath, one of my favorite bands. George, he bought me a copy later, but he got a Bloodbath vinyl that I am crazy about. He got it on vinyl, and I was legitimately lost my puppy, heartbroken about it. And this album, this Down album, I have been trying to fucking find, but it is extremely pricey, extremely rare.
For what it's worth, Vic, that album, that LP on vinyl is higher on my list to look for whenever I go looking for records. And it's not for me. It's just because I know you would shit if I found it at a reasonable price. Yeah.
Yes.
So just know that I'm out there looking for you. I really am.
The two, I just got one, the Iced Earth, the Dark Saga. That checked off one of my top 3. And then the next one would be Gwar and their Scumdogs.
Yeah. Can't find that one anywhere.
Can't find that one anywhere reasonably priced. But the Down's even more.
Yep.
A lot more.
Did you ever see Odorous read Goodnight Moon?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That was incredible.
We have a piece of Odorous upstairs.
Yeah, there's a piece of Odorous.
Seriously?
Yeah. Last year at Gwarbecue, they did a Viking funeral for the costume.
Yeah.
And I went and stole a burnt piece. And so I have it in a plastic bag. I'm going to
Can we
frame
see
it out.
I
that
should
later?
enshrine it. Yeah, can I take a picture with that?
You can't really see anything. I mean, it's just a burnt piece about yay long.
Of rubber. But it's Odorous, so his spirit's here in the
his
house.
Costume, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like I'm a part of history in this house.
Yeah.
Is it me now?
Yes.
It is.
It is me. All right, my classic album from 1993, which is it's older than these guys.
Yeah.
It's weird to think the 90s is classic, but that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, 1993, A Voivod and the Outer Limits.
Oh, all right.
This was the album that it sort of ended their cool sci-fi period. Well, they're still sci-fi, but the cool sci-fi period that they were in with Nothing Face and Angel Rat and Outer Limits, because after Outer Limits, Snake left the band. They had a different singer for 2 albums, and then when they did finally get back together again with Jason Newsted, the sound was completely different.
So
So
Nothing
different
Face, was that album? No, they're self-titled when he came with them, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And this is also one of my Holy Grail vinyls that I've only seen it for like $250. So
Yeah, heartbreaking. Yeah.
yeah, but it comes with 3D glasses because it's all like 50s sci-fi themed.
That's actually fucking badass.
Yeah, the CD when I got it, it had like a comic book in it, and you could put on the glasses and read it in 3D. It was cool.
Nice.
All right, this is another one of our newer segments. It's called Vinyl Acquisitions. I'm guessing you guys probably don't have any vinyl acquisitions, so if you want to just throw out something that you've bought recently.
I have a decent amount of vinyl, actually.
Oh.
There's vinyl that I'd like to get, and there's vinyl that my dad already had. So,
Okay.
yeah, a lot of the stuff he has is like a lot of old Beatles records, like on vinyl.
Yeah. I've got some of my dad's old Beatles records on vinyl.
Yeah. So he's got, actually, I was talking about Physical Graffiti before. He has that on vinyl. So that sounds really good. Stuff I bought, it's all like digital now.
Yeah.
So it's what did I buy recently? I think the most recent thing I actually bought was like Kronos record.
Okay.
Well, all my dad's old records are like 70s and 80s trance. That's what he was into. But like, I have a couple Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath records hanging on my wall because I think they're cool looking.
Yeah, they make good artwork.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know, they were some of the more influential albums on like all the music that we listen to today. So
Yeah. Yeah, he got a Power Slave hanging above his computer.
Excellent. All right. Jay, what do you got?
Short list for me this week. I picked up a copy of a specific pressing I wanted of Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath.
Nice.
I already had it, yeah. And I'm actually going to send Buke my other copy, which is mint, but I just didn't, yeah. So it basically, they just re-released them a couple years ago on 180 gram vinyl. And the Melissa one is red see-through and Don't Break the Oath is yellow see-through. So anyway, I finally picked that up. And then I ordered and the Monster Magnet, that reimagining when we were talking about today, and I didn't have Mastermind on vinyl, so I went ahead and got that too. And that's it. It was a pretty slow vinyl week around here. So
Cool. Buke, what do you got?
It's never a slow vinyl week for me in my fight to beat George. Which
Never gonna happen.
Never going to happen. But I took a trip to Vienna last weekend.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't get a call.
You were gone.
He's a motherfucking. That's right. It was. This guy's a motherfucking sniper. He's like, I smell metal. I better go out there and get it before George does.
I got a Garage Days copy, mint, $20.
Whoa. The revisited or the old one?
Revisited, not the old one.
Okay, yeah.
But I will say, Jay, my prized piece in my collection is a Metal Massacre compilation. Like back in the day, it's worth like a couple $100.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the you hit the lights on it and everything? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
I got what else did I pick up there? Because I didn't want to leave with nothing. It's a sickness that George and I have. I picked up Nightwish's newest album just because I want to hear what they're sounding like now. I saw your fucking face that you made. Why not hear what they're fucking? The lead singer's hot. Then why not check him out?
All right.
Whatever. Nothing's fucking super special. I may never even open it, but hey, I fucking bought it.
Yeah.
I got Them reissued from King Diamond.
Diamond.
That was $25. I went to the store on Thursday. I picked up the Savatage Power of the Night record.
Love that one.
Picked you up. Sorry, your Venom. I found an old Venom record for you.
Ein klein Nacht Music. All right.
And that's it.
All right. I don't have too much. I got the Candlemass album, King of the Grey Islands, and Sleep's Holy Mountain reissue that just came out on Earache.
Good choices, both, dude.
And, of course, as Buke mentioned, he got me the Venom Ein klein Nacht Music. He also picked me up the new Enslaved In Times. So thank you, sir.
That I told you this before, George, but I don't know if I've said it on the air. But yeah, King of the Grey Islands is like, even though I know it's the past the Messiah, period. But that's a great record, dude. That's
Robert
easily
Lowe's
my
a great
favorite
singer.
with Robert Lowe on it. Yeah, and that record is just super heavy, super heavy.
Yeah. All right. We're nearing the home stretch. One last segment, and this is the new one that Jay came up with. Jay's coming up with all sorts of good ideas.
Taking over the show.
Yeah, what have you been doing, Buke?
Adding the comic relief.
Okay. This is Deep Tracks. And we started this segment on the last episode where we try and pick a song from a band or an album that, maybe not everybody's heard. Everybody knows Angel of Death off Rain and Blood, but, a song that maybe people haven't heard that you think is really awesome. Any thoughts over there?
Would it be like preferably a song from like a bigger band that's cool?
Doesn't
matter.
Yeah, I mean,
A song that like,
it doesn't
everybody
matter.
knows Enter Sandman, but this like George. What did you do last week?
I did Escape from Metallica off of Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
Because
I would
it's a
say
great
just
song,
think of
but they never play
whatever.
it.
Like it could be Cattle Decapitation since you guys like them, but when you talk to other fans of them, it's 9 times out of 10 people end up talking about the same tracks. We all have like our secret favorites where it's like, how come nobody else thinks this is the shit?
When you say that, the first thing that comes to my mind is like when we talk to our one guitarist about like more modern death metal bands. One time we're talking about the Faceless and Planetary Duality, so of course talking about like Xenochrist, and then he goes Prison Born. I was like, what are you talking about? Like,
He's like,
we know the song. He's like, that is like my favorite song on that album. Like, that is nobody's favorite song on that album.
And that's what we're talking.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it is a good song. That's actually the opening track to that album too. So
It's fucking fast.
yeah, it's like 2 minutes. It's just done. So yeah, you got to talk about like Prison Born and stuff like that. Even if we're sticking on the Faceless, their next record, Autotheism. Not a lot of people talk about. Like a lot of people talk about Deconsecrate, but nobody talks about God, what's the fucking song before that? Movement 2.
Emancipate.
Movement 2. Yeah, Emancipate.
I don't know. I feel like just because all the songs are part of like the same movement that like I don't know. That's not even worth mentioning. I feel like every song off that album was solid and like everybody knows it.
Yeah.
It didn't like Deconsecrate was kind of like the song, but like I feel like they were all pretty fair game.
So do you have one?
Not yet. I'm thinking.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll come back to you. Jay?
Does it just have to be metal?
No,
No, we can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Your
we
guess
won't.
is-
We won't like yell at you or anything.
Yeah.
Much.
Okay, so mine is this whole record. This whole record is kind of a deep cut for me. It's Black Sabbath, Born Again, but which I think is a great record. And yeah, when I hear people talk about it, they always mention Zero the Hero and Trashed and stuff like that.
Yep.
But the title track is this weird, slow, bluesy, scary, fucking almost ballad. The song Born Again. So anyway, that's my choice. It's like one of that would rank in my top 10 favorite Black Sabbath songs, actually, for
Nice.
sure. So yeah,
All right.
good song.
Yeah. I think maybe off the Rush album, Farewell to Kings. One of my favorite songs in that album is Cygnus X1. Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah, that's a good choice.
I've never had a conversation about that song with anybody.
Yeah.
But last time I saw them live, they played it for the first time in like 10 years or something.
Sweet.
I lost my mind. Like, I was like, there's no way they're going to, oh my fucking God, they just played it. You know, I was like, it was crazy.
That's awesome.
I think I don't know. This is a hard segment for me. But
I think so too.
but off Dillinger Escape Plan on Ironworks, I think there's a song called Milk Lizard.
I knew you were going to say
And
that.
I felt like it really tied together both sides of their music, but everybody kind of overlooked it because it had like the poppy side, but it was also still like really aggressive. And I thought that was a cool song.
Right on.
Cool.
Buke.
Off of their first album, off of Orchid from Opeth. A track that I fucking love that they played live for the first time a couple years ago. At least in all the times I've seen them, the 14 or 15 times. Forest of October. Just a classic, heavy sound from them.
Okay.
Right
Awesome fucking song.
All right.
George is like, all right, so couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least John's happy, right?
I'll get his approval tonight.
All right. Well, mine is a song from an album that a lot of people that were fans of this band didn't care for. The band is Slayer. The album is Diabolus in Musica.
That's a deep fucking cut album by itself.
Yes.
And the song is called Overt Enemy. It's a Hanneman song. Both lyrics and music were done by Jeff Hanneman,
Drunk?
Should make a killing.
more than likely. And I thought I would quote a few of the lyrics just to point out why I fucking love this song so much. It goes, "Don't cross my path or I'll see you burn. You'll meet your end, find death alone. No grave to mark the seeds you've sown. You've pushed too far. My secrets I defend." And when you've got Tom Araya fucking singing that, and it's got that fucking Hanneman groove going,
Yeah.
fucking killer song. I'm sorry.
Cool. Awesome. That's the definition of deep.
That
cut.
album definitely was a deep cut, but like I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't love it when I was into Slayer. Like,
Yeah. I love that album still. I know it's slightly, different. They were sort of changing a little bit for the times, I guess, but nah, I still love it.
That's deep.
Yeah, I knew nobody was going to back me up on that one. All right, I've got one last thing that I want to talk about before we wrap this thing up. I've talked in the past about how there's just a ton of countries out there that listen to the podcast, and at current count, there's 95 different countries and territories that have listened to the podcast. So I want to thank everybody out there, and I thought I would do a top 10 countries outside of the U.S. that have been listening to the podcast in terms of most numbers of listens. So starting at number 10, we've got Mexico. Number 9, the Netherlands. Number 8, France. Number 7, Sweden. Number 6, Australia. Number 5, Germany.
shout out to Germany.
Hell yeah.
There's so many cool stuff
Surprise
going on.
number 4, Poland. Number 3, Finland. Number 2, Canada. Number 1, the United Kingdom.
Wow, interesting.
Thanks to
Yeah,
all of
that is
those people out there that have been giving us so much love and attention. We love you too. we're about to get to the last song from Perihelion. But before we wrap things up, I just want to remind you to check us out on Facebook, check us out on Twitter.
At Metalheads Pod.
And I am Disciple OV Metal.
I'm at Opeth Fan, and he's at Catatonic J.
Yeah, and hey, I got to sneak in here too, George, we had a little contest at the end of last week, and for people to put comments up on iTunes, and people nicely did that. But if you did that, we really need you to contact us with your mailing information so that we can mail the CDs to you. You know who you are.
Yeah, you can direct tweet, or you can email
George
George at wearemetalheads.com, and or
Cool
George at
URL.
Metal.
Can I get one of those emails? That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm also George at metaldisciple.com. Yeah, please get a hold of us so that Jay can make good on that promise. Because, we can see them up there on iTunes, but we have no way of contacting you through iTunes. So get a hold of us. And if you haven't yet gone and left us a review on iTunes, please do so. The ones that we got this past week really made our day. And if you make our day, we'll keep doing this. So make sure to also check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Stitcher, and of course, metalheadspodcast.com. All right. Before we finish up here, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about or plug before we play the last song?
Did we plug Death Fest next weekend yet?
You mentioned it.
I
Louisville.
can't remember if we're recording or not. But yeah, we're playing Louisville Death Fest next weekend. So
August 8th.
maybe. Next Saturday.
Death Fest is the 8th and 9th
I think it's the
Kentucky. So.
Anyway, it's going to be really cool, and we're excited for it. So hopefully, if anybody out here is in Louisville, should go to that.
Okay.
Your guys' website, your album, where can people get it?
Bandcamp. You could, our album's
check-
on Bandcamp. Listen to it, please. Maybe
Check out our
buy it if you
Facebook
like
page
it.
too.
The album again, Infinite Decay.
By Perihelion.
Right on.
What's the best way for people to follow you guys? Facebook?
Facebook. We're probably
definitely.
most active on Facebook.
Yeah.
But we also have a YouTube, which we'll post videos on of us playing the songs and stuff from time to time.
Yeah, we post. Most recently, we've posted the pre-production singles back before the album was released, and most recently, I did a bass playthrough of that, so that's on our channel right now.
And please, like every band we have on here, support these guys. Don't just, go on Bandcamp, listen to the songs, buy it, support these guys.
Yep.
Or torrent it from Russian sites.
Yeah.
That works too.
Just check these guys out. They're upstart guys here just trying to fucking make it now. So
Yep.
see what you guys. Hopefully, you guys years we're talking about you guys. How awesome.
Remember that time we had them
Thanks,
on here
yeah.
before they were all big shots?
Yep.
I'd still be down to come here.
I would definitely come back to this.
This is
Right
fun.
on. That's what we like to hear, We tend to hear that a lot, and so it's good when we hear that because we must be doing something right. So
Yeah.
And I think this is pretty much what we do. We just sit around and talk about
It is-
metal.
exactly. This
to
is what we
record it
do,
makes
but-
it-
yeah,
Now all
that's
people hear it.
I was inspired by Kevin Smith because he was like, if you just sit around talking to your friends, throw up a microphone and do it. And so I was like, all right, I'll do that.
That's great.
So that's what we
turned out
do.
awesome.
One more thing before we go. As we alluded to earlier, Buke and I will be going out to Fairwinds Brewery in Lorton, Virginia tonight to check out Brutality at the Brewery 2. If you listen to the podcast at all, you've probably heard our friend Will, Brewmaster Will. He's the head brewer over there at Fairwinds. And he's having a metal night tonight at the brewery. They're going to be featuring a new beer that featuring a new beer that Will brewed for the band Yesterday's Saints. It's called Seas of Annihilation.
Yep. I believe that's
Sounds
it.
like it'll get you fucked up.
Probably. Yeah, so we'll be going out there, and apparently Will wants us to do some coverage, so we'll be bringing a mic along and talking to some people, and, Buke will be talking to people, I'll be holding the mic, and I'll be drinking beer, and Buke will be talking to people. So if you're in the area, you could check it out, but you won't hear this until about a week after it happens, so just know that we probably had a good time.
And there may be some extra content.
Yeah, we may, I don't know if we'll tack it on at the end or put it in as an extra episode, but look for that, unless, of course, it fucking sucks and then we don't post it.
But since this is something Will has done before and all indications will do in the future, use this as kind of like how we would handle a concert review.
Yeah.
The
The last one was a few months ago. It was King Giant. for their album release. So, all right, we are in the home stretch now, finally. And this is the song that we will play you out with. It is called Devouring Life Forms from Perihelion's Infinite Decay. You guys want to give us a little info on this song before we play it?
I wrote this song when I was listening to a lot of Archspire, and everybody says it sounds like Rings of Saturn, and that makes me kind of sad.
We want to make it very clear this was not a ripoff of Rings of Saturn.
Okay.
You know,
I don't even
it's
listen
funny
to Rings
because
of Saturn.
we don't even listen to Rings of Saturn. Everybody was like, "Man, you guys sound like Rings of Saturn." We're like, "This is the first thing we ever put out, and it's already going downhill."
Welcome to the metal world.
Yeah. So,
All right.
I hope you enjoy it. It's also the last song on our album. So,
Yep.
No, it isn't.
he's right.
It's not?
It's not.
It's not. Dream Within is the
It's
last
the
song
last. It's
on
the
the
last thing we close. It's what we close our live
I
sets
thought
with.
I Dream Within. I thought
Yeah, it's Dream
when
Within.
I first had it, I had Dream Within as like a placeholder in there.
Yeah.
as being the last on the
Yeah.
album. Yeah.
Yeah.
We close all of our sets with this song. Like we start with Infinite Decay. We always close with Devouring Life Forms.
All right, well, there you have it. And we would just want to thank these guys for coming on to talk to us. And
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
we'll be back next time with Infera Bruo.
Be safe. Sacrifice children to Satan.
All right, here it is, Devouring Life Forms.
Podcast.